A young blonde boy stared into the cold, merciless eyes of his teacher, unable to move as his world shattered before him. Everything finally made sense: the glares, the beatings, the hatred. The villagers despised him because they believed he was the nine-tailed fox reborn in human form. Mizuki grinned smugly. "That was easier than I thought," he sneered. "Give it up, brat. No one has ever cared about you. Just die already so I can take the forbidden scroll to my master." Tears streamed down Naruto Uzumaki's face as Mizuki unhooked one of his giant shuriken and hurled it straight at him. Naruto shut his eyes, ready to accept his fate. Maybe it was better this way. But the impact never came. When he opened his eyes, he saw his teacher and older brother figure, Uruka Yumino, standing before him, the shuriken embedded deep in his back. "Why, sensei? You should have let me die. It's my fault your parents are gone," Naruto cried. Uruka smiled weakly, his voice trembling as he whispered, "Naruto, you're not the fox. You're the hero who stopped it from taking more innocent lives." Then he collapsed. Mizuki let out a cruel laugh. "What a fool! Now that he's gone, I can finish you off once and for all, demon." He ripped out his remaining shuriken and threw it again. But before it could hit, Naruto vanished in a red blur and reappeared across the clearing, his eyes blazing with fury. "I'm not a demon," he roared, forming a hand seal. "Shadow clone jutsu." In an instant, hundreds of Narutos surrounded Mizuki in clouds of smoke. How is this possible? Mizuki thought in horror. This morning he couldn't even make one clone. "Uzumaki flash barrage," Naruto shouted. The clones disappeared and reappeared in flashes of red, each landing devastating blows until Mizuki was beaten beyond recognition. Afterward, Naruto collapsed from exhaustion. When he awoke, he found himself in a hospital bed. On his lap sat a Konoha forehead protector and a note from the Hokage. "Dear Naruto, I witnessed what happened last night with Mizuki. Your actions and skill have greatly impressed me. Please come to my office when you wake up. There are things I must tell you about your parents and your clan heritage." Hiruzen Sarutobi, third Hokage Naruto, jumped out of bed, searching for his clothes. His jumpsuit was nearly torn apart from training with the Shadow Clone Jutsu. But he put it on anyway and tied his new forehead protector proudly. Looking at his reflection, he muttered, "Guess I should get a new outfit soon. Can't be Hokage if everyone can spot me in orange." He then shouted, "'Cause I'm gonna be the Hokage, believe it." Meanwhile, Hiruzen Sarutobi sighed deeply at his desk. "Minato, your son's growing fast," he said to the portrait of his blonde predecessor. "He's already awakened your bloodline and mastered a B-rank jutsu on his own in one night." The old Hokage walked to the portrait, channeled chakra into a hidden seal, and watched as a concealed safe revealed itself. Inside were several items: a sealing scroll, a jutsu scroll, a journal, and a key etched with complex symbols. As Naruto walked through Konoha streets, he was surprised that no one glared at him. Normally, the villagers would stare with hatred, whispering behind his back. Now, disguised with the transformation jutsu as a random genin, he could finally move unnoticed. After buying some new clothes at normal prices, a rarity for him, he wore black ANBU-style pants, blue sandals, a gray shirt, and a hooded black trench coat marked with the Uzumaki swirl. His forehead protector hung loosely around his neck. Smiling beneath his hood, Naruto entered the Hokage Tower. Just before entering the office, a mischievous idea came to him. He knocked politely. "Hokage-sama, may I come in?" "Come in quickly," Hiruzen replied, assuming it was someone else. "I have a meeting soon," Naruto grinned. The next moment, he kicked the door open and yelled, "Give me the hat, old man." The Hokage nearly fell over from shock, while the hidden ANBU readied themselves before realizing who it was. Naruto dropped to the floor laughing, his hood falling off to reveal messy blonde hair and whisker-like marks. Hiruzen relaxed, smiling. "At least you're still the same knucklehead," he said fondly, though he noted the drastic change in clothing. Once Naruto stopped laughing, he grinned. "You said you wanted to talk, right, old man?" "Yes. It's time you learned about your family," the Hokage said. "I wasn't going to tell you until you were older, but since you've already awakened your father's bloodline and maybe your mother's, it's best you understand. But first, why the wardrobe change? I thought orange was your thing." "Oh, that," Naruto said sheepishly, scratching his neck. "I had an epiphany, Hiruzen corrected. "Yeah, that. I realized black's harder to spot than orange. Besides, my jumpsuit kinda fell apart. The Hawkage chuckled. I should have guessed. He then grew serious. Naruto, your bloodline is called Flash Step. It's from the Namikaze clan, your father's family. The ability allows instant movement to anywhere you can see, though some use seals to extend its range. It manipulates wine chakra to move your body faster than light, creating a flash to conceal the process. Your secondary element seems to be fire, given your red aura. Your father's was lightning, hence the yellow flash. Naruto blinked in realization, looking from the portrait of the fourth Hokage to his reflection. You mean, he was my dad? He asked, pointing between himself and the painting. The Hokage nodded. Yes, your father was Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage. Naruto's heart sank. So he sealed the nine tails inside his own son, he whispered. Hiruzen nodded sadly. He couldn't ask anyone to bear that burden for him, but now, would you like to hear about your mother? Naruto instantly brightened. Please tell me, his voice echoed through the tower. Smiling, the Hokage continued, your mother was Kushina Uzumaki, known as the Red Death of Konoha. She was an ANBU captain and the previous host of the Kyuubi. She died bringing you into the world, making you the last of two noble clans. The Uzumaki came from Uzushiogakure, the village hidden in whirlpools, a land famed for its sealing masters. Their power frightened other nations, leading to their destruction by Kiri, Kumo, Iwa, and several minor villages. Their chakra was unique, stronger, more resilient, and capable of merging elements without a special bloodline. You carry that legacy within you. Naruto stood there in awe, realizing he was the heir to two powerful clans. Determination flared in his heart. He'd surpass everyone, even Sasuke. Naruto, do you want this information made public right away, or would you rather hold off for now? The old Hokage asked. The blonde took a few seconds to think before answering. Let's wait a bit. We can tell everyone at a better time, maybe when I make Chunin. Hiruzen smiled warmly, agreeing that such a moment would be ideal. Standing up, Hiruzen took a small wooden box from his desk before sitting back down beside the boy. This, Naruto, is your inheritance, he said, handing it to him. Naruto accepted it eagerly, opening it with shaky hands. The sight of a journal and a key inside brought tears to his eyes. Looking up, he met the Hokage's gaze. The Uzumaki compound is next to the Hyuga estate, Hiruzen explained. I'll have an ANBU guide you there. Naruto gave his surrogate grandfather a bright smile before standing up. See you soon, old man, he said, walking out with the ANBU escort. Inside the Hokage's office, the Jonin instructors were arguing over which students they wanted for their genin teams. Hiruzen rubbed his temples in irritation, feeling a headache forming. Quiet, he roared, silencing the entire room. Now let's see. All teams have been decided except for 7, 8, and 10, correct? When most nodded, he continued, then those with completed teams may leave. The room soon emptied, leaving only Hiruzen, Kurenai Yuyuhi, and Asuma Sarutobi. All three thought the same thing, Kakashi is late again. Moments later, the door opened. Yo, sorry I'm late, got lost on the path of life, said Kakashi lazily. The other three were too annoyed to even comment. So, which genin do you prefer? Hiruzen asked. Without hesitation, Kakashi said, I want the last Uchiha. I don't care who else I get, but I'll personally train Sasuke if I have to. Then your team will also include Sakura Haruno and Kiba Inuzuka, replied the Hokage. But Hokage-sama, I'd like Kiba for my own squad. His tracking skills are essential for my espionage unit, Kurenai objected. I understand Kurenai, Hiruzen said calmly, but I have someone even more suitable in mind. And who might that be? She asked sharply. The Hokage smiled faintly. He's probably the fastest genin in the village, capable of gathering information from afar, and he has more chakra than most Chunin. If your team is ever trapped, he could protect you and get everyone to safety. Sounds useful, doesn't it? You still haven't told me who it is, she replied dryly. It's Naruto, Hiruzen said simply. Asuma and Kakashi burst out laughing, while Kurenai's face hardened. That's not funny, Hokage-sama, she snapped. I'm not joking, Hiruzen replied firmly. Give him the teamwork test with Hinata and Shino. If you're not satisfied, you can swap him for Kiba afterward. Meanwhile, Asuma leaned back, amused by the tension between his peers. He already knew he'd be getting the Ino-Shika-Cho trio. the laziest genius alive, a food-loving powerhouse, and a blonde fangirl who'd barely train. It sounded like the easiest teaching job ever. All right then, Hiruzen concluded. Be at the academy in 1 week at 10 o'clock. Kakashi's clone vanished in a puff of smoke, Kurenai left fuming, and Asuma walked out with a grin. Once alone, Hiruzen sighed, pulled out his pipe and that familiar orange book, and began reading with a small, mischievous chuckle. Later that day, Naruto sat in his new home, reading through his father's journal. He'd explored the entire estate earlier and was amazed. The jump from a cramped 3-room apartment to a vast compound with more than 10 buildings left him speechless. The property held about 15 houses, each with multiple bedrooms and fully furnished. A park, playground, and training fields filled the grounds, with a large fountain marking the center. Across from the gates stood a great hall for meetings, an armory stocked with specialized kunai and twin crimson katana, and a library filled with scrolls and knowledge on countless jutsu. Behind the compound was a vast training ground protected by barrier seals. When he was done exploring, Naruto entered the largest house, clearly his family's, and discovered photos of the fourth Hokage with a red-haired woman he guessed was his mother. In his father's study, he spent hours poring over the journal, trying to understand the complex notes on the flash step. By the time he looked up at the clock, it was already midnight. Deciding to call it a night, he searched for a bedroom and found one decorated as a nursery. The walls were painted blue with stars scattered across them. A crib in one corner held a small plush fox, and a photo on a bookshelf showed Minato and a heavily pregnant Kushina smiling together. Naruto's eyes filled with tears as he picked up the picture and the toy. He carried them into the master bedroom, placed the photo on the bedside table, and lay down clutching the fox close. Exhausted both mentally and emotionally, he quickly drifted off to sleep. It looks like the boy has finally chosen to take things seriously, the Kyuubi thought from inside its cage. Perhaps he'll prove worthy of my power, if he can earn it. 1 week later, the newly graduated students made their way to the academy for team assignments. Sakura and Ino were racing for the seat beside Sasuke. Hinata sat quietly hoping Naruto had been given another chance, while the rest waited impatiently. Hinata nearly gave up hope, until she spotted a hooded boy sitting in the back. Using her Byakugan, she saw his chakra signature and her heart leapt. It was Naruto, and she couldn't help noticing that his new outfit suited him much better than his old orange one. Naruto, on the other hand, prayed to remain unnoticed, but luck wasn't on his side. Sasuke, ever arrogant, approached and said, "You're in my seat." "I don't see your name on it," Naruto replied calmly, realizing too late that he should have stayed quiet. Sasuke struck him, knocking his hood off and revealing his face. "Naruto, what are you doing here? This meeting's for Genin," asked Shikamaru lazily. Naruto lifted his headband. "I got a retest and I passed easily." "I don't care, move," grunted Sasuke. But before he could grab Naruto, another student bumped him, sending him stumbling forward. In a flash of speed, Naruto appeared on the other side of the room, hood up again, leaving behind only a faint dust trail. Sasuke fell face first into the chair. Right then, Sakura and Ino burst into the room, bickering over who arrived first. When they spotted Sasuke's face buried in the desk, they rushed to his side. Moments later, Uruka entered, still wrapped in bandages. He gave a heartfelt speech about how proud he was of his students before beginning the team announcements. Team 7, led by Kakashi Hatake, will consist of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno. Sakura immediately squealed, "True love conquers all." Uruka waited patiently for her to quiet down before continuing, and Kiba and Yuzuka. Both Sakura and Kiba groaned loudly, slamming their heads onto their desks. Team 8, led by Kurenai Yuyuhi, will consist of Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburame, and Naruto Uzumaki. Hinata nearly fainted from joy. Sakura and Ino looked stunned. "Wait, didn't Naruto fail?" Ino whispered, trying to make sense of it. Sakura, however, stood up and yelled, "Uruka-sensei, that's impossible. That baka could never pass, not when Sasuke-kun is leagues above him." Naruto's heart sank at her words. Uruka sighed. "Actually, Sakura, Naruto passed his retest with excellent results. Now, moving on, Team 10, led by Asuma Sarutobi, will be Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akimichi. And with that, the new generation of Genin was officially formed. Go have lunch, get to know your teammates, Then return here in an hour to meet your senseis." With that the class dispersed. Hinata, Shino and Naruto sat on a bench eating in silence. Hinata stayed quiet because she felt she might faint if Naruto spoke to her. Shino behaved in his usual reserved manner, and Naruto sat there awkwardly. He'd barely met Hinata and Shino before and didn't know how to break the ice. "It would be advantageous for the team to converse," Shino said in his even, flat tone. "I'd join in, but I don't know much about you two, so I wasn't sure what to say," Naruto admitted. "Then introductions would be sensible, and we should explain our abilities." Shino continued. "I'll begin. I'm Shino Aburame. I employ insects in my ninjutsu. My clan doesn't emphasize taijutsu or genjutsu. With logic, problems become straightforward." "Where do the insects live?" Naruto asked. "In tunnels within my body," Shino answered, his voice betraying the first hint of nervousness since he began speaking. "Nice," Naruto replied simply. Shino was stunned. Most people recoiled at his clan's methods, but Naruto thought it was nice. The idea was foreign to the composed bug user. Naruto went next. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I use the Shadow Clone Jutsu, and my bloodline grants a flash step ability. I've been studying some Fuinjutsu. I'm terrible at Genjutsu, and I'm learning a Taijutsu style from my mother's clan. I have unusually large chakra reserves, so I can handle high-level jutsu though low-level techniques sometimes elude me." Hinata gasped. She hadn't known he belonged to a clan or possessed a bloodline. Hinata spoke last. "I am HH Hinata HH Hyuga. I use the Byakugan to assess C far distances and THTH through objects. I practice my clan's Taijutsu, the GG Gentle Fist. I do NN not use ninjutsu or genjutsu much, but my Byakugan Kakan B-break many genjutsu." At this, Naruto shouted, "Wow, that's amazing, Hinata-chan." Hearing the Chan honorific made Hinata flush crimson. Naruto, suddenly concerned, asked, "Are you all right, Hinata-chan?" And the white-eyed girl promptly fainted. Does that happen often?" Naruto asked, worried. Shino shrugged and said, "Only around you." Naruto looked even more perplexed. Despite acting older, he was clueless about girls. When Hinata finally regained consciousness, they returned to the classroom. Seated again, they scanned the other teams. The civilian-heavy teams lounged about. The girls stared at Sasuke with dreamy expressions, while the boys eyed him with envy. He was the strongest among them. Clan teams were different. From Team 10, Ino was another swooning fan, gazing at Sasuke. Shikamaru was dozing on his desk, and Choji munched another bag of chips. Naruto found them dull. Looking at Team 7 made him snicker. Sakura was trying to coax Sasuke into going out with her. Sasuke tried to ignore her with all his will. Kiba, meanwhile, was flirting with two girls behind him who only had eyes for Sasuke. After a short wait, a red-eyed woman entered. "Team 8, follow me." With that she led them away, Naruto, Shino, and a still-blushing Hinata trailing. They walked to a small cafe. When they approached the counter, the proprietor glanced over them, paused at Naruto, and said, "Sorry, young man, hoods aren't allowed inside." Kurenai made impatient gestures, encouraging Naruto to remove his hood. He hesitated but eventually complied. The moment his hood came off, the man erupted, "Everyone, be safe. Leave, that blonde menace, get him out of here." He began, then noticed Kurenai restraining Hinata, whose face was betrayed and whose fingertips leaked chakra. Shino buzzed audibly, and the blonde menace started to walk out slowly. By the time Kurenai calmed her genin down, Naruto wasn't beside them. They found him on a bench, apparently crying. Kurenai approached softly. "Naruto, what's wrong?" she asked with gentle concern. She couldn't stand seeing a child so upset. "It's nothing, Kurenai-sensei, just go on in and order, I'll wait here. Places like that won't let me in because of my condition. Ikaraku's the only place that ever accepts me." Naruto sounded forlorn. Kurenai glanced at her students, both nodded. "Looks like we're having ramen." Hope sparked in Naruto's eyes. "Thanks, Kurenai-sensei," he whispered. At Ikaraku's ramen bar, Team 8 watched as Naruto devoured bowl after bowl, about 15 bowls stacked before him. Hinata was finishing her first. Shino and Kurenai were on bowl 2. After they ate, Kurenai spoke. "Now that we're done, let's share a bit about ourselves." "Sensei, we already know one another, so you should go first," Shino suggested. "Very well. I'm Kurenai Yuyuhi. I enjoy genjutsu and value my friends. I dislike perverts and those who think kunoichi can't be proper shinobi. My goal is to become the greatest genjutsu master. Shino, you're next. I'm Shino Aburame. I favor my clan's insects and people who treat me fairly. I dislike those who kill insects or shun my clan for housing bugs within. My dream is to lead the clan logically and justly, like my father. Hinata then spoke. I am HH Hinata HH Hyuga. ILL like people who don't give up and assess someone special. She glanced at Naruto and blushed. He remained unaware. She straightened, a rare determination in her gaze. I dislike perverts and those who look down on others as weak or judge good people unfairly. My doctor dream is to be SS, seen as since strong by my clan, and to TT tell the person I like my fifi feelings. She finished amid heavy blushing. Naruto took the last turn. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I like ramen, which made the Ikaraku owners smile, and people who treat me genuinely like you. I dislike how long it takes to make ramen and those who mistreat me. My dream is to become the greatest Hokage and master my bloodline and family techniques. When he finished, Kurenai resumed. Tomorrow you'll take your genin test. But sensei, we already had a test, Naruto protested. That was to determine if you could be genin. This one decides whether you stay genin. 66% of new genin fail. Only 3 teams remain genin, the rest return to the academy. Meet me tomorrow at Training Ground 9 at 0900 sharp. The genin chorused, yes, sensei. The next morning at 0830 all 3 genins stood at the training ground. They glanced at one another and asked in unison, why did you come early? Shino spoke first, to observe if there's any interesting insect life here. Hinata answered, I was being CC cautious in case I got DD delayed. Naruto grinned, I woke only 3 minutes ago, saw the time and dashed over, didn't want to be late. But Naruto, you can't get from your house here in 3 minutes. It takes roughly 40. Shino's monotone voice declared. Naruto smirked and vanished, reappearing on the opposite side of the ground in the blink of an eye. Explain, Naruto, demanded a voice, making all 3 spin as Kurenai materialized from a tree. That was the second tier of my bloodline. The first allows my body to adapt to high-speed motion. The second, which you saw, manipulates wind at an intense level, moving air molecules to let me sprint. The third manipulates my molecules directly, allowing teleportation. I can't properly use the third until I raise my fire affinity. I could use it initially due to special circumstances. What special circumstances? Shino asked, curious. Kurenai cut in, not something you can be told now. Shino and Hinata nodded in understanding. Now, the test. Kurenai produced a chalkboard and 3 colored chalk sticks, the board attaching to her dress as she handed the chalk to the genin. You have until midday to mark the board. The first 2 to do so pass, the other fails. If no mark is made, you fail. When I say go, begin, and remember, attack me with everything you have. Lethal force is permitted if you choose, otherwise you'll have no chance. And go, she vanished immediately. This is a teamwork test, Shino observed. Why would you think that? She said only 2 pass, if teamwork mattered one would fail. Naruto countered. It's designed to force us apart. Think logically, a 2-man genin squad has never existed, Shino reasoned. Naruto pondered a moment, then gave Shino a thumbs up. They spent the next half-hour planning. Hinata only spoke when asked. In her mind, she silently hoped, please don't let me make Naruto-kun and Shino fail. While the group was deep in strategy, Kurenai observed from a distance with a proud glint in her eyes, certain her students would succeed. Sadly, she couldn't catch their discussion. Moving closer would give away the genjutsu she was cloaked in. Once the planning ended, the 3 genin moved into a reverse triangle pattern. Naruto and Shino took the front, while Hinata covered the rear. Each performed the ram seal. Shino's insects poured from his sleeves, Hinata's Byakugan activated, and Naruto began to channel his chakra in silence. Looks like Naruto's trying something new again, Kurenai thought, slightly amused. She considered him the one who needed the most guidance. Uzumaki style, genjutsu break, Naruto shouted suddenly, unleashing a burst of dense chakra that tore through the illusion hiding Kurenai. Before she could react, Shino's bugs darted toward her. She substituted with a nearby log just in time, only to face Hinata's barrage of gentle fist strikes. One wrong move could end the match instantly, forcing Kurenai to dodge carefully. In a quick counter, Kurenai trapped Hinata in a short genjutsu, meant only to delay her. Within seconds, she knocked the Hyuga out with a swift blow to the neck. Shino re-engaged, releasing another wave of insects, but this time Kurenai anticipated the move. A few hand seals later, Shino froze, paralyzed by her genjutsu. He tried to dispel it but failed. "This technique has layers," Kurenai explained calmly. "Your bugs are draining your chakra, leaving you too weak to break free." She frowned when Shino suddenly stopped resisting. "You seem confident now that both your clan prodigies are down. But you've overlooked Naruto's words about his bloodline," Shino said flatly, still motionless. A gust of wind swept past Kurenai, followed by a sharp screech like chalk against a board. Turning, she saw 3 parallel lines marked perfectly. Naruto stood there, smirking, holding all 3 chalks in hand. "So, Kurenai-sensei, which line was drawn first?" Naruto teased. With a sigh, Kurenai realized she had been outsmarted. She released her jutsu on Shino and revived Hinata. "Hey, Kurenai-sensei, so did we pass or what?" Naruto called out, grinning ear to ear. Smiling softly, Kurenai replied, "Yes, Naruto, you've all passed. Not because of the chalk trick, but because you strategized and worked as a team to keep me from noticing your movements." "That was the plan, sensei," Naruto said proudly. While he rambled on, Shino and Hinata hid their laughter, knowing he was just improvising. They wouldn't admit Hinata's knockout had forced Naruto to push his wind control to the limit, masking all movement, a feat that left him utterly drained. Mid-sentence, Naruto collapsed from chakra exhaustion. Kurenai sighed, sending Hinata and Shino home despite Hinata's concern. Carrying Naruto herself, she headed toward his home, only to find the place destroyed. She turned back toward the Hawkage Tower. At the entrance, 2 ANBU guards blocked her way, demanding she leave Naruto outside. The commotion drew the Hawkage's attention. Opening the door, he assessed the situation and motioned to an inner ANBU operative. A masked ANBU with a tiger mask appeared, grabbed the door guards, and vanished in a blur straight to T&I, where Ibiki would deal with them. "That's the last time I promote new jounin into ANBU, the Hawkage muttered wearily. When the tiger ANBU returned, the Hawkage ordered, "Take Naruto home." Kurenai smiled faintly. "I'll see you at the report meeting, Hawkage-sama." Line break. At the team debriefing, everyone was stunned. Kakashi was on time. Something serious had to be up. The Hawkage entered with the village elders, and the Jounin began reporting their team results. "Team 7 passed," Kakashi said casually. Gasps echoed. Kakashi had never passed a team before. The elders smirked, satisfied that the last Uchiha made it through. "Team 8 passes," Kurenai stated confidently, earning more shocked looks, especially since Naruto Uzumaki was on her team. "Team 10 passed," Asuma muttered, looking disinterested. And thus, the Rookie 9 were formed. Next day, Naruto arrived early at the training ground, intending to ask Kurenai something. She was leaning against a tree, reading a small orange book. Kurenai-sensei," he called. She quickly hid the book in her pouch, masking her embarrassment. "Hugh, close one," she thought, regaining composure. "What's up, Naruto?" "I need your help," he began. "Most shops refuse to sell me weapons. Only one does, but they don't have what I need, like scrolls, sealing tags, paper, or ink." His voice trembled slightly at the reminder of his treatment. "What do you mean only one shop?" Kurenai asked sharply. "It's not important," he said quickly. "I just need supplies for my sealing practice." "All right," Kurenai said softly. "After training, I'll take you somewhere better." But in her mind, she decided to speak with the Hawkage later. Line break. That day's training involved identifying personal weaknesses. Kurenai guided them subtly, letting them find their own methods to improve. Their first mission afterward wasn't quite what Naruto expected. Instead of saving royalty, they had to catch the dreaded Tora the cat. With Naruto's speed, the capture was quick, though the boys learned the cat's claws were vicious. Strangely, it became docile in Hinata's arms. Afterward, Hinata and Shino went for clan training while Kurenai accompanied Naruto for supplies. She was disgusted at the glares directed at him by villagers. Eventually, she led him to a quiet bookstore where he bought most of what he needed except for sealing tags. "Thanks, Kurenai-sensei. You're the best," Naruto shouted before running off. "Wait, Naruto, why all the sealing stuff?" she asked. "Oh, beginner seal training uses tags and scrolls," he explained cheerfully. See you tomorrow, sensei. And with that, he vanished in a blur. Kurenai immediately turned toward the Hokage's office, anger simmering about Naruto's treatment. Naruto's home, back at his apartment, Naruto made a shadow clone to grab ramen from Ikaraku. The clone left while Naruto studied Fuinjutsu for beginners. Suddenly, he felt pain like a punch to the head. Wait, my clone was getting ramen, he thought, eyes widening. Excited, he spawned dozens of clones to test it. Soon, one clone was studying Fuinjutsu, others practiced seals and tags, and the rest scoured the library for scrolls. The real Naruto sprinted around the compound to build his speed, knowing it would amplify his bloodline's power. He trained until the ground itself bore trenches from his laps and craters from clone explosions. Dispelling all clones at once nearly made him faint from the surge of memories. Next time, only 10 at a time, he groaned, staggering toward his house, then stopped as glowing seal patterns mended the ground. Now that's handy, he said, grinning as he went inside. The following weeks passed quietly for Team 8. Their routine was simple: morning training sessions followed by D-rank missions in the afternoon. Each member focused on improving their weaknesses. Naruto worked on refining his chakra control, Shino practiced taijutsu katas, and Hinata trained with Kurenai to build confidence. From 9 to 11, they trained individually, then sparred together until 1. Afterward, they'd eat lunch and head off for their mission of the day. Once their tasks were done, the teams split up. Kurenai would join other Jonin at a shinobi-exclusive bar. Shino and Hinata returned to their clans for further training, and Naruto pushed himself to exhaustion at his personal training ground, leaving behind a landscape of destruction from countless shadow clones. He usually divided his clones into squads of 50. 2 groups studied in the library, one researching new jutsu and the other studying clan techniques. Outside, one team focused on Fuinjutsu, another on jutsu practice, while the rest worked on taijutsu and fire control, trying to ignite leaves using chakra. Their progress was slow but steady. Meanwhile, Naruto himself studied his mother's kenjutsu scrolls and practiced with her twin katanas. At night, he'd rest as his clones gradually dispelled, flooding him with their experience until morning. Mission Center, a month after her squad's graduation, Kurenai was proud of how far they'd come. Shino had reached high genin level in taijutsu and was recognized within his clan for his control over the Kikaichu. Hinata had nearly overcome her stutter, except when speaking directly to Naruto. And Naruto himself had improved the most. He could now teleport short distances, carried swords within a ceiling scroll, and could even challenge Kurenai in taijutsu. His ninjutsu was already approaching Jonin-level techniques. Their chakra control had also advanced. Each could walk on water effortlessly, allowing them to spar without needing to focus on maintaining balance. Kurenai was considering applying for a C-rank mission since Kakashi's team had just completed one. But before she could ask, the Hokage addressed her first. Kurenai, I want your team to assist Kakashi's squad. They've encountered complications, and I'm sending you as backup. Are you certain, Hokage-sama? No offense, but Kakashi isn't fond of sharing missions. He barely tolerates company at a bar, she replied respectfully. He'll accept your support or face demotion, the Hokage said firmly, handing her a scroll. Inside are the mission details and a letter for Kakashi explaining the situation. After scanning the orders, Kurenai nodded with determination. Team, pack for a month. We're leaving in 30 minutes for a C-rank mission. Finally, a real mission, Naruto yelled, grinning ear to ear. His teammates just chuckled before hurrying off to get ready. Half an hour later, they regrouped at Konoha's gate. All right, Naruto, send your clones ahead to scout. The trip normally takes civilians 3 days, but for us, it'll take 2 hours. Your clones should reach in 30 minutes, said Kurenai as they began tree hopping. After an hour, Naruto's body stiffened, his eyes narrowing. Sensei, Kakashi's team was ambushed by enemy shinobi, but they've already handled it, he reported seriously. Good, double time. Naruto, keep your blades ready, Kurenai ordered, and the team responded in unison. They soon reached the dock where Team 7 had boarded their boat. We'll need to cross fast, but Hinata and Shino don't have enough chakra reserves. Naruto, can you carry them? Kurenai asked. Naruto smirked, summoning 3 shadow clones. One grabbed her, while the others picked up his teammates. Before Kurenai could blink, they dashed across the surface of the water with unbelievable speed. She looked down mid-ride. Naruto wasn't even channeling chakra to his feet. He was simply running fast enough to stay above the waves. Within moments, they reached the opposite shore, mist curling around them. Naruto paused to catch his breath before leading the team forward. "Sensei, the enemy attacked Kakashi's group here," he said, pointing toward the battle site. "Good work, Naruto. Hinata, can you locate Team 7? Kurenai asked. Hinata's Byakugan flared. "They're nearby, Sensei, but Kakashi-san's chakra is low and the others are exhausted," she replied. Without hesitation, Kurenai signaled for them to move. Inside Tazuna's home, they found 3 genins sprawled around the room and a small white dog nestled beside one of them. Kiba lay on the floor, Akamaru tucked into his jacket. Sakura slept deeply on a couch, and Sasuke leaned against a wall pretending to stand guard despite his obvious fatigue. Kakashi, however, was upstairs, unconscious. Team 8 took in the scene silently. Even Naruto didn't laugh. They all knew they could have ended up the same. When they entered, Sasuke instinctively threw a kunai. Fortunately, his tired aim failed, and Team 8 easily dodged. The kunai struck the doorframe as Sasuke realized who they were, sighed in relief, and promptly collapsed. Kurenai surveyed the room and gave quick orders. "Naruto, deploy clones around the perimeter. Shino, send out your insects to scout. Hinata, check Team 7's condition and keep flaring your Byakugan every few minutes." All 3 responded promptly and set to work. Kurenai checked on Kakashi, finding him completely out cold and unlikely to wake anytime soon. That night, Team 8 guarded the house while getting acquainted with Tazuna and his daughter, Tsunami. When Kiba woke, he was startled but quickly relieved to see them. Sasuke followed, feigning alertness though he'd clearly been asleep moments earlier. Naruto smirked under his hood, amused by the Uchiha's stubborn pride. Later, everyone except Sakura joined Tazuna and Tsunami for dinner. During the meal, a quiet boy came down, grabbed a plate, and retreated upstairs. "That's my son, Inari. He doesn't talk much," Tsunami explained. Afterward, Sasuke and Kiba carried Sakura to bed, while Kurenai's team set up sleeping bags in positions covering every entrance. She took the couch facing the door and assigned watch shifts before resting. Next morning, Naruto had the last watch and woke everyone at dawn, just as Kakashi staggered downstairs. "Kurenai, why are you here?" he asked. Without a word, she handed him the Hokage scroll. He read it, nodded, and handed it back. "Can you explain what happened to your squad?" she asked calmly. "On our way here, we encountered 2 missing nin from Kiri, the demon brothers. They weren't much trouble, but later, we were ambushed by Zabuza Mamachi, the demon of the mist." Flashback, as Team 7 advanced along the shore, a dense mist rolled in. Kiba sniffed the air, threw a kunai into a bush, and startled a white rabbit. Sakura smacked him on the head for overreacting. "Wait, a white rabbit? In summer? It still has its winter coat, raised indoors." Kakashi realized too late. "Everyone down." Sasuke pulled Sakura to the ground while Kakashi grabbed Tazuna. Kiba was already down from Sakura's punch. A massive cleaver whistled through the air, embedding itself in a tree where they'd stood seconds earlier. A tall man appeared atop the blade, shirtless, face half-wrapped in bandages, and a slashed Kiri headband tilted on his head. "Zabuza Mamachi, the demon of the mist," Kakashi identified. "The great Sharingan Kakashi knows my name, how flattering," Zabuza taunted. "Hand over the old man and no one gets hurt." "I can't do that," Kakashi replied, lifting his headband to reveal his Sharingan. Zabuza's grin widened. "Sharingan, is he an Uchiha?" thought Sasuke. "Even better," Zabuza said, forming a seal. "Ninpo, hidden mist jutsu," he whispered as fog consumed the clearing. "There are 8 fatal spots on the human body. The larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular vein, subclavian artery, kidneys, and the heart. Which one should I strike first?" Zabuza's killing intent filled the air, heavy and suffocating. The pressure was so intense that Sasuke instinctively raised a kunai, ready to end his own life. "I'll protect you, Sasuke," Kakashi said firmly, infusing his voice with chakra to disperse the bloodlust around his students. Kakashi readied himself, already predicting Zabuza's next move. A shinobi like him would aim for Tazuna to shorten the fight. Just as Zabuza lunged for the bridge builder, Kakashi intercepted, driving a kunai into his stomach. To his shock, water poured from the wound instead of blood. A water clone, Kakashi muttered, moments before Zabuza's blade cleaved through him, only for that Kakashi to dissolve into water as well. The real one appeared behind Zabuza, delivering a hard kick that sent the rogue ninja skidding across the lake's surface. So, even through this mist, that Sharingan can copy my techniques, its power truly lives up to its legend. Zabuza grinned before charging again. Kakashi dashed after him, kunai clashing against his massive cleaver. For a while, Kakashi held the upper hand until he dove underwater to dodge an attack. But the water was too dense. Before he realized it, he was trapped. Sutin. Water prison jutsu complete. Zabuza smirked as Kakashi struggled inside the floating sphere. The copy ninja could attempt to break free using lightning chakra, but it would likely kill him. Watching Zabuza form more clones, Kakashi shouted, "Run! You can't win against him." But expecting obedience from Sasuke and Kiba was wishful thinking. "Sensei, you said those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash. We won't let some wannabe swordsman beat us." Kiba roared. He and Sasuke shared a glance, nodding. Sasuke rushed the clones, dispelling them, only for Zabuza to create more. These new ones quickly slammed both genin to the ground. Suddenly, Kiba vanished in a puff of smoke, revealing Akamaru. While the clones faltered, Sasuke seized the opening and eliminated them. From afar, Zabuza heard, "Tsuuga!" A spinning whirlwind of fangs and claws came tearing toward him. Forced to evade, he released Kakashi from the water prison. Kiba floated in the water, staring as the two jonin faced off again. They mirrored each other's stance, both hands blurring through identical seals. Simultaneously, they called out, "Sutin!" Water Dragon Jutsu. Two colossal dragons collided midair, writhing before crashing into each other and dispersing. Zabuza began another string of seals, only to find Kakashi copying him step for step. "You're just a damn copycat," he laughed until he saw an image of himself behind Kakashi, freezing him for an instant. That second was all Kakashi needed. "Sutin, great waterfall jutsu!" Kakashi shouted. A massive sphere of water surged forward, spinning violently before erupting and blasting Zabuza into a tree. Kakashi advanced, ready to finish it. Flashback end. When I moved in for the final strike, he asked if I could see the future. I told him yes, and his future was death. But before I could end him, Senbin pierced his neck. When I checked, he had no pulse. A hunter nin appeared, thanked me, and took Zabuza's body. Kakashi's voice faded. "Damn it. He's still alive," Kakashi muttered under his breath. Later, Kakashi and Kurenai sat down in another room, discussing strategies and weekly plans over coffee. With Team 8, as Kurenai walked off with Kakashi, her team watched her leave before pulling out small training items. Wasting time wasn't their style. Shino studied a scroll on Taijutsu, Hinata reviewed one on first aid, and Naruto balanced a kunai on his fingertip with chakra control. "Wonder what Team 7's been learning since they got the famous copy ninja," Naruto mused. Shino merely shrugged. "I am not sure, Naruto-kun, but probably lots of new jutsu," Hinata replied softly. Naruto grinned. "Think Kurenai-sensei's gonna show us something new today?" Again, both his teammates shrugged. Naruto sighed, balancing another kunai on a second finger while they waited. The next morning, Kakashi led Team 7 to a clearing. Sakura still ached from the previous day's training, but Kakashi figured more exercise would help. Team 8 followed, curious to compare progress. Kakashi leaned on his crutches. "Today we're learning tree climbing," he began. Kiba frowned. "Sensei, anyone can climb a tree." "True," Kakashi replied calmly, "but can you climb without using your hands?" He demonstrated, channeling chakra to his feet and casually walking up the trunk. Team 7 watched in awe. Team 8 simply smiled, remembering when they first learned the exercise. "But how does this help?" Sakura asked. "It's for chakra control," Kakashi explained. "Better control means easier jutsu and advanced techniques. Use these to mark your progress." He handed them each a kunai. Sakura succeeded immediately. Kiba slipped after 2 steps, and Sasuke fell when he poured in too much chakra. As they tried again, Sasuke noticed Team 8 walking away. "Hey Dobi, why aren't you guys training too?" he shouted. Without answering, Team 8 sprinted up their own trees with ease, flipping off the top branches to land lightly on the nearby river's surface. Team 7 could only stare in astonishment before returning to practice. Satisfied, Kurenai turned away with her team. Once out of sight, she addressed them. Naruto, make clones to guard the bridge and the house. Shino, send your insects with them. Both nodded and complied. Good, now we spar, no holding back. I'll take Shino. Naruto, you're with Hinata. Naruto vs Hinata, the two bowed before clashing. Hinata activated her Byakugan, fingertips glowing with chakra as she launched rapid strikes. Her attacks hit only air. A puff of smoke replaced Naruto. Using her Byakugan, she spotted him and threw shuriken, but he was already gone, reappearing at the opposite end. Your speed keeps improving, Naruto-kun, Hinata noted, barely tracking his movement trails. Naruto smirked and vanished again, closing in with blinding speed. A flurry of blows followed, Naruto's movements fluid and unpredictable. His taijutsu, known as the flash fist style, focused on overwhelming speed and retreat before a counter. Even at its basic stage, it rivaled a low Chunin's skill. Hinata, though struggling, was adapting. Her Byakugan allowed her to anticipate some of his strikes, blocking and countering a few. After several minutes, Naruto stepped back, rubbing his arm where several bruises marked his skin. When he tried to channel chakra, it faltered. You're getting faster too, Hinata-chan, he said, forcing his chakra to flow. Tiny whirlwinds spiraled down his arms as he reopened blocked tenketsu points with sheer wind pressure. Hinata gasped. It was something she'd never seen before. Naruto grinned. Let's turn it up a bit. He channeled chakra into the seals in his sleeves, and two black-bladed katanas slid free. Their hilts glowed red, each engraved in gold kanji, one reading bloody, the other whirlpool. Hinata tightened her grip on her kunai, knowing what was coming. Naruto rushed in, avoiding using his bloodline's speed to keep it fair. Their weapons clashed, sparks flying as Hinata was forced backward. Not fair, huh? Hold on there, now it is, Naruto said, stabbing one sword into a nearby tree. When he re-engaged, Hinata managed to stand her ground better, until Naruto began using his true kenjutsu style. His movements became erratic, unpredictable, forcing Hinata to rely solely on her agility to evade the storm of strikes she couldn't block. Suddenly, Hinata realized she couldn't move. A shadow clone stood behind her, fingers locked in a seal. In that instant, she noticed thin currents of wind chakra wrapped tightly around her limbs, binding her in place. Naruto's katana rested lightly against her shoulder, its sharp edge only inches from her neck. You did amazing, Hinata-chan, Naruto said with a bright grin. Her cheeks flushed instantly at his closeness. Why are you blushing so much, Hinata-chan? Did I go a little overboard? Naruto teased. No, Naruto-kun, it's nothing, she stammered out, her voice trembling. Naruto only shrugged, walked over, and pulled his sword free from the tree trunk it was embedded in. Hey, Hinata-chan, should I keep my swords out or seal them back up? He asked casually. I think they'll look cooler when they fly out of your sleeves, she replied shyly. Heh, all right then. So wanna keep training until Shino and Sensei finish sparring? Naruto asked. Hinata nodded and began running through her Juyuken forms, focusing on precision. Meanwhile, Naruto reached into his pocket and triggered a seal, pulling out a scroll. Unfurling it, he released several metallic plates and attached them to his body with chakra before beginning to walk up a nearby tree. Because his chakra reserves grew larger every day, Naruto needed constant practice to keep his control sharp. About 10 minutes into training, he sensed a disturbance. The air around him was shifting unnaturally. Something big was coming. Hinata, unaware, was practicing without her Byakugan to conserve chakra in case of an emergency. That's when 5 thugs crept into the clearing, spotting her immediately. Lost in thoughts of Naruto's kindness, she didn't notice them closing in until rough hands grabbed her. From his perch, Naruto turned just in time to see it happen. The Kyubai's chakra stirred violently inside him, mixing with his wind chakra as his rage boiled over. The metal plates on his body glowed red-hot before dropping to the ground, hissing with steam. In the next heartbeat, his twin blades flashed from their seals, and he vanished in a streak of red light. In less than a second, the clearing fell silent. The thugs collapsed, lifeless, Naruto's sword still impaled in one man's chest. He held Hinata close as she clung to him desperately. Blood soaked the earth around them, yet a perfect circle of untouched ground surrounded Naruto's feet. Tears welled in both their eyes, Hinata trembling from terror, Naruto from guilt. I'm a monster, the villagers were right. I killed them all so easily, he thought bitterly. Thank you, Naruto-kun, Hinata whispered shakily. Hinata-chan, am I a M-monster? I didn't even feel bad when I killed them. I felt good after they touched you, Naruto said through sobs. Hinata's eyes widened, then she shook her head fiercely. You're not a monster, Naruto. You saved me. They deserved it. You're kind and brave, a real monster could never care like you do. I know that because I like you. She gasped, realizing what she had just said, and covered her mouth. Why you like me? Naruto asked, stunned, his brain barely processing the idea that anyone could care for him after what he'd done. Why yes, she said quickly, her face burning red. I've liked you for a long time, even more now that you saved me from those men. She spat the last word with disgust. Naruto stepped over the bodies and sat beneath a tree, still holding Hinata close. She buried her face in his chest, and before long, they both drifted into an exhausted sleep. With Kurenai and Shino was panting, wiping sweat from his brow. He had broken free of his sensei's genjutsu easily, but Kurenai had kept the fight going for nearly an hour. Let's go check on the others, Kurenai said, straightening up. Shino nodded, popped a soldier pill into his mouth, and followed the trail of his tracking beetle that he'd placed on Hinata. When they arrived, the sight made them freeze, a gruesome scene of fallen bandits surrounded by scorched earth. Kurenai's eyes softened as she found Naruto and Hinata asleep nearby.
She woke them gently, memorizing the scene for teasing later. Naruto gave a shaky explanation of what had happened, guilt lacing his words, but steadied when Hinata held his hand reassuringly. All right. You two return to Tajuna's house, I'll handle the cleanup. Once I'm done, we'll regroup at the bridge to help Kakashi guard Tajuna, Kurenai instructed. They nodded and took off. Kurenai turned back toward the bodies and smirked until she noticed Naruto's blades still stuck in one of them. A red flash appeared, and Naruto reappeared momentarily, grimacing. Almost forgot these, he muttered weakly, retrieving the swords before vanishing again. That evening, Naruto and Hinata couldn't meet each other's eyes without blushing. Team 7 noticed but stayed quiet, exchanging knowing glances. When they got back, Naruto caught Hinata's hand before she entered. He nodded toward the roof, and she followed. Hinata-chan, did you really mean it? That you liked me? Naruto asked, his face crimson. Hi, Naruto-kun. I really do, she stammered. Then, would you maybe go out with me? Naruto asked nervously, bracing for rejection. Instead, Hinata leaned in and kissed his cheek. Hi, and Naruto-kun, she whispered before fainting from embarrassment, mumbling, if this is a dream, I hate you, Kami. Naruto chuckled softly, carried her inside, and tucked her into her sleeping bag. Before leaving, he slipped a note into her hand. It wasn't a dream, Hinata-chan. At dinner, Kurenai asked, where's Hinata? She's resting. Today really took it out of her, Naruto replied. Kurenai nodded, though her amused smile said she knew more than she let on. The next morning, Team 8 headed to the bridge to help guard Tajuna. Naruto created an army of shadow clones to patrol the surroundings, transforming some into rocks and animals for stealth. Shino scattered his insects to fill in the gaps. Kurenai surveyed their setup and nodded in approval. Good work. You can all train within the perimeter. Stay alert, she said, settling into a high spot with one of Kakashi's favorite orange books. With Shino. He stood beneath a tree, summoning countless bugs from the forest, sorting through species to strengthen his colony. And boring, right? With Naruto and Hinata. Under the bridge, the two trained together. Hinata meditated, focusing on enlarging her tenketsu to enhance her Byakugan's range. Naruto watched her in quiet awe. How did I never notice how amazing she is, he thought, before focusing on his own training, improving his control over fire chakra. He picked up a leaf, sat cross-legged, and began channeling Katon through his palm. Slowly, the leaf darkened, then caught fire, crumbling to ash. Perfect. Time to move on to the tougher one, he murmured. He grabbed an old shuriken, dull from wear, and infused it with chakra until it glowed white hot. Then, channeling wind chakra, he shaped the edges with precision. Once done, he cooled it in the river, forming a small metal leaf. Pleased, he started toward Hinata to give it to her but stopped midway. No, the first gift I give her has to be something better. Determined, he sat back down, pulled out another shuriken, and began channeling both fire and wind chakra together, planning something more meaningful for the girl who saw him not as a monster but as someone worth caring for. 10 minutes later. Naruto focused intensely, pouring his chakra into an old shuriken, yet no matter how hard he tried, it refused to react. He was sure he wasn't out of chakra. He could clearly feel the faint tug of energy leaving him, but he had no idea where it was going. A small gasp caught his attention. Looking up, Naruto saw Hinata watching him with her Byakugan active, her eyes wide in disbelief. Confused, he looked around and noticed that the grass around him had turned brittle and brown, tiny flames flickering across the ground. When he turned back, he saw faint heat ripples rising off his skin. Curious, he went toward the nearby stream, but before he could even touch the water, it began to bubble violently, releasing a cloud of steam. Only then did Naruto realize that chakra was still leaking from him uncontrollably. Closing his eyes, he focused until the draining sensation finally stopped. When he looked back at Hinata, she was still staring, completely stunned. Naruto rubbed the back of his head awkwardly and gave a sheepish laugh. Heh, looks like I got carried away with my cat on practice, huh, Hinata-chan, he joked lightly. Hinata nodded slowly before asking. And Naruto-kun, what were you trying to do anyway? Naruto continued scratching his neck before answering, explaining how he'd been trying to make her something as a gift. He held out a small leaf he had shaped himself. Hinata smiled softly and slipped it into her pocket. But Hinata, that's not good enough for a first gift between us, Naruto said, blushing furiously. Anything made by you, Naruto-kun, is special to me, Hinata replied sincerely, her face matching his shade of red. Naruto quickly changed the topic. So, Hinata-chan, why did you look so surprised before? Hinata thought for a moment before replying, I think Kurane-sensei should hear this too. I'll explain everything to both of you. Naruto shrugged, and together they went to find their teacher. Kurane was quietly reading when she noticed her students approaching. She quickly tucked her book away and leapt down to meet them. Back already? Want to practice some genjutsu? She asked, amused. Both shook their heads, and Hinata stepped forward, her face still slightly pink. Kurane assumed it was because of Naruto. Kurane-sensei, Hinata began, while Naruto-kun and I were training, he tried combining wind and fire chakra to help him focus. It looked unstable, so I activated my Byakugan. What I saw was strange. Two distinct chakra flows, one wind, one fire running alongside each other. As they passed through his tenketsu, both started blending, forming a new orangish-yellow chakra. This energy leaked out around him, causing the heat waves and fire. It was like watching two dyes swirl together in a river and mix at a whirlpool. Naruto thought about it for a moment before clapping his hands together. Oh, I get it now, the whirlpool part gave it away. That must be my Uzumaki bloodline, he said as if it were obvious. Both Hinata and Kurane blinked in confusion. But Naruto-kun, I thought your ability came from your father's side. Hinata asked. Nope, that's my dad's clan technique. I can't tell you which clan though, it's a secret. What you saw was from my mom's side, the Uzumaki bloodline. It lets me fuse different elements to create new ones. The old man explained it better than I ever could. Naruto reached into his jacket and pulled out a scroll marked with a whirlpool insignia. Give me a sec, he said, unrolling it to reveal symbols for the 5 main chakra natures. Channeling chakra into his finger, he tapped the symbols for fire and wind. In the center, a new symbol appeared, along with writing. Scorch, release an extinct Kekii Genkai from the sand village. Can generate extreme heat and melt through nearly anything. Naruto grinned. Sounds awesome. I'll have to try this out later when we're back home. Kurane and Hinata were still stunned, but Naruto cheerfully said, Come on, Hinata-chan, let's train some more. I'll see if I can do it properly this time. Hinata blushed again and followed him back. Later that day, when Team 8 and Tajuna returned to his house, Team 7 was already there, completely worn out from their own training. Moments later, Tsunami called from the kitchen. Dinner's ready, everyone. They all gathered at the table including Inari. But throughout the meal, the boy kept glaring at the shinobi. "Why don't you just give up already?" Inari suddenly snapped. "You're all going to die anyway. You don't understand our suffering. You people from your fancy village act like you know everything. I bet you've never even." "Shut it, brat," Naruto roared, eyes blazing. "You've got no idea what real pain is. You have family, food, love. Try living where everyone hates you, where you're beaten for existing." His voice grew darker, more feral. "I'll be outside, sensei." And with that, he vanished in a flash of red. Kakashi froze, eyes wide. That was sensei's ability. He thought. But sensei's son was supposed to be dead. Could it be? Inari ran off crying, with Kurane following to comfort him. Sakura frowned. Why would Naruto say that? His life can't have been that bad. Kakashi sighed. You're wrong. He actually downplayed it. Naruto had no one. He survived on garbage and spent his childhood hiding from villagers who wanted to hurt him. I used to save him when I was in Umbu, especially on his birthday. Everyone's expressions changed. Sasuke's mask slipped slightly. Kiba and Sakura went pale. Tajuna and Tsunami looked heartbroken. Teammate, however, remained quiet. They already knew. Meanwhile, with Naruto. A red flash lit up a clearing where Naruto appeared, the same place he'd fought the thugs earlier. Only scorch marks and faint blood stains remained. Still simmering with anger, he pulled out a sealing scroll and tossed his coat onto a branch. Unrolling the scroll, he applied chakra ink, tags, and brushes materialized in small bursts of smoke. His hands moved in a blur as he drew identical sealing arrays, 10 in total, then placed them on surrounding trees before sitting cross-legged in the center. When one seal glowed, he vanished instantly, reappearing beneath it with a smirk. Soon, he was flashing across the clearing, practicing his speed. The next morning, Haku moved quietly through the forest, collecting herbs for Zabuza's recovery. He stopped upon seeing a blonde-haired boy sleeping peacefully in the clearing, a Konoha forward protector glinting in the sunlight. Since he hadn't fought them before, Haku assumed reinforcements had arrived. Moving silently, he approached, ready to end the boy's life if necessary, but something made him hesitate. Instead, he shook him awake. Huh? Oh, right, training, Naruto mumbled, sitting up and rubbing his eyes. Who are you? Isn't it polite to introduce yourself first? Haku said with a small grin. Naruto grinned back. Guess you're right. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, genin from Konoha. And you are? Haku, he answered warmly. So, what brings you out here this early, Haku? Naruto asked curiously, already sensing the strong chakra hidden within. I'm gathering herbs for a friend to help him heal faster, Haku replied carefully. What about you, Naruto-kun? I'm training, of course. I've got to get stronger so I can protect the people I care about. Haku smiled softly. Then you'll definitely grow stronger. Those who fight to protect others always do. Naruto smiled back, then helped Haku finish collecting herbs. Once done, Haku waved and started walking away, leaving Naruto more determined than ever. Tell Zabuza I regret that things turned out like this. Haku spun around, senbon in hand, but Naruto had already vanished. His eyes darted around the forest before he sprinted off to search for him. A crimson flash later, Naruto reappeared beside the trees, gathering the sealing tags he had previously set. He carefully stored them in his pouch. This was the first time one of his seals had worked perfectly, and he wanted to study them later. When he made it back to the house, he noticed his teammates were gone. A note from Kurane informed him that they had gone to guard Tajuna, leaving him behind to protect Tsunami and train so Kakashi wouldn't need to oversee two groups at once. With a casual shrug, Naruto summoned a dozen shadow clones to patrol around the house. After assigning them positions, he wandered toward the pier near Tajuna's home and sat down to think. He took a steady breath, pulling a damaged shuriken from his pouch. Channeling intense heat through his palm, he melted and reshaped it into a kunai, leaving a thin hollow channel inside. While the metal still glowed, he inserted one of his seal tags, reheated it to close the gap, and cooled it back to solid form. Once the kunai was complete, Naruto created another clone, this one infused with more chakra than usual. Handing the clone some money, he nodded. The clone focused, vanishing in a red flash, reappearing in short jumps toward Konoha, each teleport covering only what it could see ahead. Naruto watched the space where the clone had disappeared, then sat cross-legged, focusing on his fire release chakra. Heat built in his hand until faint sparks danced at his fingertips. The sparks ignited into flames, small but controlled. With focus, he guided the fire to twist around his fingers, spiraling into his palm, then spreading across his hand without burning him. Smirking, he dashed forward and punched a nearby tree. At first, only a scorch mark appeared, but moments later, red light glowed beneath the bark. The tree ignited from within, collapsing into glowing embers and ash. That night, when Team 8 returned from the bridge, Naruto greeted them at the door. "Hey, you guys sure took your time," he teased. The others simply brushed past him, heading off to rest or pursue their own activities. Later, Hinata joined Naruto on the roof, where he seemed unusually nervous. She realized why when he pulled out a necklace, a small kunai charm hanging from a silver chain. "I made this while training today," he said. "A clone fetched the chain from home. If you ever channel chakra into it when you're in danger, I'll come instantly." Hinata's eyes softened as she clasped the necklace to her chest and fastened it around her neck. "Thank you, Naruto-kun," she whispered, leaning over to kiss his cheek. He turned red and lay back, grinning awkwardly, while Hinata rested her head on his chest beneath the night sky. End of the week. Naruto awoke to an empty house. Judging from the absence of familiar chakra signatures, both his team and Team 7 were already gone. He got dressed, ready for anything. Crash. The sudden noise jolted him to attention. He expanded his chakra sense, searching for civilians he couldn't normally sense. He quickly located Tsunami and Inari alongside two unfamiliar presences. Reaching out through the seals he'd placed earlier, he sent chakra to one, activating its beacon. Feeling the pull of the link, he vanished in a red flash. A thug's sword swung toward Inari only to meet a katana blocking it, seemingly appearing out of nowhere. The man blinked, revealing Naruto holding the blade effortlessly with one hand. Yawning, Naruto extended his other arm, a second katana sliding from his sleeve. In a blur, he sliced the thug's ankles, dropping him with a scream. The second thug froze, pressing his weapon to Tsunami's throat. "Move, and she dies," he shouted. Naruto merely smirked and vanished. A split second later, he appeared behind the man and struck him with the pommel of his sword, knocking him unconscious. 3 clones appeared, 2 to bind the attackers and 1 to protect Tsunami and Inari. With a nod, Naruto vanished toward the bridge, both swords returning to their seals. At the bridge. By the time Teams 7 and 8 arrived, thick mist blanketed the area. Tajuna's workers lay motionless, whether dead or unconscious, no one could tell. Well. Looks like the great Sharingan Kakashi couldn't handle me alone," Zabuza mocked from within the fog. "Had to bring backup, huh? One of your genins even trembling, how pitiful." 10 water clones formed from the mist. "You're wrong," Sasuke replied, his voice steady. "I'm not scared, I'm thrilled." With lightning speed, he destroyed the clones in an instant. "Impressive," Zabuza remarked. "He might actually rival your speed, Haku." Kurane and Hinata exchanged quiet giggles, careful not to draw attention. As the mist thinned slightly, Zabuza, Haku, and the demon brothers became visible. Kakashi's tone hardened. "Sasuke, take the masked one. Kiba, Shino, handle the demon brothers. Hinata, Sakura, protect Tajuna. Kurane, you're with me. Let's take down a demon." The battle exploded across the bridge. Kiba and Shino struggled to overcome the demon brothers' teamwork. Shino's insects couldn't get close, and Kiba's nose was hindered by the mist. Meanwhile, Kakashi and Kurane were pressed hard. Kakashi's Sharingan was near useless, and Kurane couldn't trap Zabuza and Genjutsu. Sasuke fared worst of all, trapped inside a dome of icy mirrors, his body riddled with senbon. His Sharingan spun furiously, but it wasn't enough. Hinata, watching with her Byakugan, noticed a chakra signature racing closer. It was Naruto, sprinting as fast as he could. Realizing he wouldn't reach Sasuke in time, she gripped her necklace and channeled chakra into it. In an instant, Naruto appeared in a red flash, scanning the battlefield. He quickly kissed Hinata's cheek in passing and placed a seal on the ground. Peering into the ice dome, he saw Sasuke collapse. He teleported inside, grabbed him, and reappeared beside Sakura, laying him down safely. The effort drained him, but he still charged back into the dome. "You should have stayed away," Haku's voice echoed coldly from all directions. "Now you can't escape. Once my attack starts, it won't stop." Naruto smirked as Senbon whirled toward him. With a flick, his blade extended, infused with wind release, scattering the needles harmlessly. "I'll admit, you're fast," he said, vanishing mid-sentence. Reappearing above Haku, he added, "But I'm faster, Haku." His sword came down, slamming her to the ground. The mirror shielding her chest cracked nearly in two. Haku struggled to rise. "How did you know it was me?" Naruto's tone softened. "Your chakra, it's unique. Cool, yet soothing. Hard to mistake and harder to fight against." He lunged forward again, sword poised for a finishing strike. "Hayaton, frozen blade!" Haku cried, forming an icy weapon from her hand. She barely blocked his attack, but the frost trembled under pressure. Naruto frowned, releasing heat. Slowly, Haku's ice began to melt, including her mirrors. "Still getting used to this scorch release stuff," Naruto muttered. "Hard to control in small spaces." Haku's eyes widened as her blade shattered, the impact sending her sprawling. "Do it," she whispered. "I'm nothing but a broken tool." Naruto lifted his sword, then froze as the sound of chirping lightning filled the air. The mist cleared, revealing Zabuza standing motionless, Kakashi rushing him with a lightning-covered hand. "Sorry, Naruto-kun," Haku murmured. "Looks like I still have one purpose left." She drove a senbon into his stomach, making him stumble, then darted off toward Kakashi. By the time Naruto tore the senbon free and his chakra flowed again, it was too late. Haku lay motionless, a hole where her heart once was. Zabuza stared, tears forming in his eyes. "Well, looks like the demon of the mist wasn't as tough as they say," sneered Gato from the far end of the bridge, his voice dripping with arrogance. Behind him stood a crowd of armed thugs. "Doesn't matter, I wasn't planning to pay him anyway. Kill them all." Zabuza glanced at Gato, then at Kakashi and Kurane, his expression unreadable. "Gato is mine. You two handle the rest," Zabuza growled before lunging forward, his massive cleaver carving a bloody path through the mob. Each swing left mangled bodies behind, and the air filled with the sound of steel and screams. The demon brothers flanked him, cutting down anyone foolish enough to approach from the rear. Kurane and Kakashi dashed into the chaos as well, joined by Naruto, a red and gold blur tearing through the thugs with unmatched speed. Together, they quickly wiped out the remaining enemies the Mistnin hadn't already slain. By the time Zabuza reached Gato, the crime lord was trembling uncontrollably. Even with deep wounds across his back and his body barely holding together, Zabuza summoned the last of his strength, raising his sword one final time. With a single decisive strike, he cleaved Gato clean in two. Leaning on his weapon like a crutch, Zabuza staggered toward the fallen demon brothers. Gathering what was left of their bodies, he dragged them beside Haku's still form before collapsing to his knees. "I'm sorry, Haku, but I know this is goodbye. I hope you're smiling wherever you are," he whispered. Then, his vision dimmed. The final thing he saw was Haku's peaceful smile as snowflakes drifted across the silent battlefield. Naruto stood quietly before the graves his clones had dug for Zabuza and his comrades, 4 in total, side by side. Zabuza's great sword stood embedded in the earth as a marker. Reaching into his pouch, Naruto pulled out a sealing scroll with a soft poof of chakra. Setting down his ink and brush, he carefully drew intricate fuinjutsu markings along the blade and the soil surrounding the graves. When he finished, he stepped back to observe his work. "Preservation, seal," he called out. The markings flared with light before spiraling inward, forming a small black sigil at the center. A single tear slipped down his cheek before he turned away, vanishing in a flash of crimson. On the bridge. "Where's the dobe?" Sakura screeched, making everyone around, including the entire crowd from Wave, flinch at the volume. Suddenly, a red flash appeared beside Hinata, and Naruto emerged with a grin. "Sorry for the delay, had to take care of something first," he said, scratching the back of his head sheepishly. The team smiled. In battle he was deadly serious, but outside of it, he was still that same goofy kid. "Good, now that everyone's here, let's move," Kakashi said with his usual smile, intercepting any incoming argument. He silently studied Naruto, more certain than ever that the boy was his sensei's son. The resemblance was clear. Minato's calm in combat, Kushina's fiery personality when relaxed. It was uncanny. Inari ran up, eyes misty. "Please come visit soon, Naruto and I-san," he said, fighting back tears. "It's okay to cry sometimes," Naruto said kindly. "Just keep growing stronger, so you can protect what matters most. I'll definitely visit again." His voice was steady with conviction. "All right everyone, let's head out. If we keep a good pace, we'll be home by lunch," Kurenai ordered. "Naruto, run ahead and inform the Hokage of our return, then meet us halfway." Before Kakashi could protest, Naruto nodded and darted off, disappearing in a blur. Kakashi sighed, defeated, and followed with the rest of the group. Naruto poured wind chakra into his legs, pushing his speed to the limit. Only an elite shinobi or a Sharingan user could hope to follow his movements. When the village gates came into view, he realized he was moving too fast to stop in time. Thinking quickly, he formed hand seals. "Wind release, gale palm," he shouted, blasting air beneath his feet to propel himself upward. Using another burst of chakra to slow his descent, he landed lightly near the gate and signed in with Kotetsu and Izumo before heading to the Hokage's office at a normal pace. No need to reveal his full power to the villagers. "Hey, Gigi," he greeted as he entered. "Kurenai-sensei sent me ahead. Teams 7 and 8 should arrive by lunch." "Good to see you, Naruto," the old man said warmly. "Any progress with your father's sealing techniques?" Naruto grinned and pulled a seal tag from his pocket, slapping it on the desk. In a red flash, he vanished, reappearing a second later with a small flower in hand. "I cracked it. I've placed a few seals in wave and layered them with preservation runes too," he said proudly. "Excellent work," the Hokage praised. Naruto bowed slightly, tucking the flower between his teeth before vanishing again. Hinata jumped when he reappeared beside her, offering the flower discreetly before removing his hood and smiling. "Gigi knows we're on our way," he said cheerfully. "Thanks, Naruto. You can head back to Konoha if you want," Kurenai said kindly. "Nah, I'd rather stick with you guys," he replied. "We're sprinting, idiot," Sakura yelled. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck, embarrassed. "Right, forgot. Guess I move faster than I think," he said with a grin. "For the record, my team calls this jogging speed." He turned to Hinata, lowering his voice. "Hey, Hinata-chan, activate your Byakugan and look at my feet." When she did, her eyes widened. He wasn't touching the trees at all. Tiny bursts of wind chakra shot from his soul ace, forming invisible steps of air beneath him. "Why Yuri flying?" she whispered in awe. "Not quite," Naruto said softly. "True flight needs constant chakra control. This is just applying wind chakra to the tree walking exercise." They continued traveling, Naruto and Hinata chatting quietly while Kakashi searched for a chance to speak with him and Kurenai discussed genjutsu tactics with Shino. Team 7 was too exhausted to talk. As the village gates came into view, Naruto turned to Kurenai. "Sensei, I'll flash ahead to the Hokage's office. Otherwise, it might look weird that I'm entering twice." She nodded, and he vanished instantly. When Naruto appeared again, the Hokage nearly dropped his book in surprise. "Gigi, you really shouldn't read that when kids could walk in," Naruto scolded. Sarutobi chuckled, sticking out his tongue before lighting his pipe. A few minutes later, the others arrived. "Good work, everyone," the Hokage said. "Kakashi, Kurenai stay. The rest of you are dismissed." Naruto cheered and dashed out as the genin trailed behind. Once they were gone, the Hokage's smile faded. "Now, your report," he said sternly. The two jonin described the events in wave. When they finished, Kakashi hesitated before asking, "Hokage-sama, why didn't you tell me my sensei's son was alive?" Kurenai's eyes widened as the realization hit her. "Wait, the fourth Hokage's son?" Naruto as she began. Sarutobi's glare silenced Kakashi. "Well, since the secret's out, yes. Naruto is the heir of both the Namikaze and Uzumaki clans. He carries both bloodlines." Kurenai stared in shock while the old man sighed. It was going to be a long night. A week later, Team 8 gathered at their usual training field. Naruto and Hinata lay side by side, hands intertwined. In public, they acted like simple teammates, but during private sessions, they didn't bother hiding their affection. Shino had figured it out after their time in Wave, and Kurane had known all along. They weren't ready to reveal their relationship yet. Hinata's father would have Naruto's head. Facing Hayashi Hyuga wasn't a fight Naruto wanted. Only their team and the Hokage knew, though Sarutobi seemed aware of everything happening in the village anyway. After Kurane learned the truth about Naruto's lineage, he had told his teammates himself. Neither Shino nor Hinata treated him differently. It didn't change who he was. That simple acceptance made him smile, and Hinata's gentle kiss on the cheek made him blush furiously. After a few quiet minutes, Kurane arrived at the field, ready to begin training. "All right, I'm glad everyone's here," Kurane began with a bright smile. "I've decided to enter you three into the upcoming Chunin exams. I believe you're ready to test yourselves. Even if you don't make it, this experience will be valuable for your growth." Though her tone was confident, Kurane couldn't shake the worry inside her. She knew her students had potential, but part of her felt it might still be a little early. However, since the exams were being hosted in Konoha this year, it was the best opportunity for her team to shine and possibly advance. Handing out 3 forms, she continued, "You don't have to take part if you're not ready. It's your decision. If you do, meet at the academy in room 301 in a week." Her students nodded before leaving to think it over, though Kurane already knew their answers. Naruto was far too stubborn to refuse. Hinata's confidence always grew around him, and Shino's calm reasoning would push him to compete since he was practically at Chunin level already. She smiled faintly as she walked away, content knowing her team had a good shot among the rookies. Kakashi's squad wasn't prepared enough yet. Kiba might have had potential with his clan techniques, but his impulsive nature would hold him back. Team 10 had a solid chance too, mainly because the Ino, Shika, Cho formation had always worked well, though their personal quirks could easily cause them to fall short. With a small shrug, Kurane headed home, looking forward to some peaceful reading time with her favorite Ika novel. With Naruto and Hinata. While strolling through the village, Naruto noticed a suspiciously square rock with holes cut into it. Hinata covered her mouth, trying not to laugh. "Kano Amaru, for the last time rocks aren't square," Naruto groaned. "Heh, sharp eyes as always, boss. You never disappoint," came Kano Amaru's muffled voice before the box exploded in a puff of smoke, leaving 3 coughing figures behind. "Udon. You used too much cough gunpowder again," a girl's voice complained. When the smoke cleared, 3 small kids stood there wearing outfits that looked suspiciously like Naruto's. Hinata smiled. "Who are these adorable kids, Naruto-kun?" "I'm Mogi, the cutest kunoichi in the academy," the girl declared proudly. "I'm Udon. I like math," said the boy with glasses and a large drip hanging from his nose. "And I'm Kano Amaru, the next Hokage," shouted the last boy. "Boss, you promised to play ninja with us." Kano Amaru whined, making Hinata giggle. "A ninja playing ninja, that's so cute, Naruto-kun," she said, smiling warmly. Kano Amaru suddenly leaned in with a mischievous grin. "Hey, boss, is she your, he wiggled his pinky, girlfriend?" Naruto leaned down and whispered, "Yeah, but don't tell anyone. Her dad would kill me if he found out." Kano Amaru grinned wider. "Wow, boss, scared of one old man? You're such a chicken," he teased, conveniently forgetting his own failed attacks on the 3rd Hokage. Naruto's smile darkened as he cracked his knuckles. Kano Amaru yelped and bolted down the street laughing. Naruto gave chase, but before long, there was a loud thud. Rounding the corner, Naruto and Hinata found Kano Amaru being held up by a guy in a black catsuit. "Apologize, brat, or I'll make you regret it," the stranger threatened. "Kankuro, put the kid down. We just got here and you're already causing trouble," scolded a blonde girl standing nearby. "Relax, Tamari. He's just some punk kid. No one's gonna miss him," Kankuro muttered. Naruto's voice turned cold. "I think the Hokage might disagree. He remembers his grandson quite well." At that, Kankuro instantly dropped Kano Amaru, who ran to hide behind Hinata. Naruto crossed his arms. "Now, unless you and your teammate up there want to get thrown out before the exams start, I'd suggest heading back to your inn." The 2 Sunanin tensed and glanced upward. Gaara was hanging upside down from a tree, watching. "Kankuro, you're an embarrassment to our village. Step out of line again, and I'll kill you, Gaara said flatly. They nodded quickly, and the trio turned to leave. Gaara paused mid-step and looked at Naruto. Who are you? He asked. Wouldn't it be polite to introduce yourself first? Naruto shot back. Gaara of the desert. Naruto smirked. Naruto Uzumaki. Future Hokage of Konoha. Mother will enjoy your blood, Gaara said eerily before walking away. Naruto pretended to spin a finger by his head, making Hinata stifle a laugh. Konohamaru gagged dramatically before running off to play again, leaving Naruto and Hinata to continue their walk home. When anyone asked why Naruto was near the Hyuga compound, he always claimed he was just escorting Hinata. A week later, Team 8 arrived at the academy together. Hinata, can you check where most people are? Asked Naruto. She activated her Byakugan. There's a big crowd on the second floor, it looks like a genjutsu. Then we'll avoid it, said Shino calmly. The team nodded, scaling the wall and slipping in through an open window on the third floor. Kurane was waiting outside room 301. Good, you all made it. If one of you had stayed behind, I couldn't let the others in. Since you're all here, go prove yourselves. She vanished in a body flicker, leaving her team staring at the door. Naruto pushed it open. Instantly, waves of killing intent hit them. None of them flinched. After fighting Zabuza, this was nothing. Naruto leaned casually against the wall while the others followed his lead. They watched as more teams arrived, including Team 7. Sasuke glared daggers at Naruto, bruised and clearly agitated, his Sharingan flickering on and off. Before he could act, Ino tackled him enthusiastically, making Naruto snicker quietly. Shikamaru and Koji came over and joined Team 8. What a drag, Shikamaru muttered as he sat down. Keep it down, said a silver-haired genin nearby. Being loud here is like painting targets on your backs. Who are you? Sakura asked. Kabuto. I've been through these exams a few times, if you need info, I've got plenty. Wait, you've failed before, she pressed. 6 times, actually, he admitted sheepishly. Naruto tuned him out, scanning the room instead. Most teams didn't stand out, but a few caught his attention: the Suna team with Gaara radiating killing intent, another Konoha squad with a Hyuga, a panda-eyed girl, and a guy with ridiculous eyebrows radiating confidence, and one team from IWA that looked just as dangerous as Gaara's group. He studied them silently, one tall blonde boy with burned arms, a short, broad teammate who looked like he could crush rocks, and a green-haired girl with striking purple eyes. Their combined aura was intense, almost feral. Sasuke suddenly broke the silence. Tell me about Rock Lee of Konoha and Naruto Uzumaki, he demanded. And Gaara of the desert, Naruto added. Kabuto smiled, pulling out his info cards. Makes it easier when I know the names. First, Gaara of the Sand, son of the 4th Kazekage. He's completed 40 C rank missions, 20 B rank, and 2 A rank, all without injury. No data on his fighting style. Next, Rock Lee of Konoha. Teammates, Niji Hyuga and Tenten. 200 D ranks, 50 C ranks, 1 B rank. Can't use ninjutsu or genjutsu, but his taijutsu skills are off the charts. And finally Naruto Uzumaki. Teammates, Hinata Hyuga and Shino Abarame. 30 C rank missions, 1 A rank. Genjutsu ability, poor. Ninjutsu and taijutsu, exceptional. Listed as the fastest genin in Konoha. Naruto frowned slightly. Only the Hokage had ever said that. How did Kabuto know? As Kabuto kept talking, Naruto scanned the room again. Gaara looked intrigued, the IWA team's killing intent spiked, and Rock Lee's eyes were practically on fire with excitement. It was clear the exams had only just begun, and the competition was already fierce. Before Kabuto could react, the Oto team unleashed a strange sound-based attack on him. The moment chaos began to stir, the front of the room exploded with a cloud of smoke. I'm Ibiki Marino, the overseer of this first exam, a heavily scarred man announced as the smoke cleared. There will be no fighting unless authorized by a proctor. His commanding tone silenced the entire hall. Now, grab a number that'll be your assigned seat. You have 30 seconds to find your number, sit down, and wait for the test to begin. His voice echoed across the room. For a moment, no one moved, until Ibiki glanced at his watch and tapped it twice. Immediately, The room erupted into movement as Genin dashed toward the Chunin examiners. The IWA and Suna teams, along with Team 8, calmly collected their slips and took their places. Naruto ended up seated beside Sakura. Perfect, the screeching banshee. Couldn't fate have placed me next to Hinata-chan instead? Ibiki began explaining the rules. Only 2 points off for cheating, huh? And these questions are way too advanced for Genin. So it's not about intelligence, it's about how well we can gather intel, Naruto thought as he noticed Sakura scribbling answers at lightning speed. Glancing around, he realized that several supposed teams of Genin were actually disguised Chunin feeding answers. Sasuke's Sharingan was active, copying perfectly. Niji was using his Byakugan and likely, Hinata was too. Gaara's sand-eye drifted in the air. Kiba's Akamaru scouted answers, Shino's bugs crawled silently, and Tenten and Lee communicated through reflected light. Smirking, Naruto faked a sneeze but infused it with wind chakra, sending papers flying across the room. In the confusion, he blurred from seat to seat, memorizing answers before reappearing in his chair and jotting them down. A few genin were tossed out for obvious cheating, but no one had seen Naruto move. Not even Sakura. That kid's fast. I could barely track him, Ibiki thought with interest as Naruto leaned back, confident. He felt someone's gaze but dismissed it when he couldn't locate the source. A few rows behind, Kato Mari Wakashima from IWA watched closely. Her clan's purple-eyed dojutsu granted limited predictive sight. She'd caught a glimpse of Naruto's movement barely, but enough to confirm her suspicion. He was fast, frighteningly so. Her team's fears were true, he might be related to the Yellow Flash. She'd need to warn them later. The rest of the test passed quietly. Near the end, Kankura returned from the restroom just in time for the final question. Good, did you have fun with your toys? Ibiki asked mockingly, making Kankura sweat. Now for the last question. There are some new rules. You can refuse to answer, but doing so means you fail. Then why would anyone quit? Kiba shouted. Ibiki's grin turned wicked. Because if you get it wrong, you fail and can never take this exam again. That's impossible. People have failed before. Kiba argued. I wasn't the proctor then, Ibiki replied, his smirk deepening. One by one, nervous genin began to fold starting with one of Ibiki's disguised chunin. After several teams quit, Naruto noticed Hinata trembling beside him, hand halfway raised. Before she could move, he slammed his own hand down on the desk. I don't care if I fail. Becoming Hokage is my dream, and I don't need a rank to reach it. So stop wasting time and ask the damn question already. Naruto shouted defiantly. His words reignited the fire in every genin present. Ibiki's grin softened. If none of you plan to quit, then congratulations, you've all passed the first exam. What about the 10th question? Kiba called out again. There wasn't one, Ibiki said calmly. The real test was whether you had the resolve to continue despite the risk. As Chunin, you'll face missions with little intel and great danger. You can't just walk away when things get hard. You either complete the mission, or die trying. Tamari frowned. Then what were the first 9 questions for? Our job as ninja is deception and intelligence gathering. Information is more valuable than gold. If you can't acquire it without being caught, you're not fit to be a chunin. And bad intel, Ibiki removed his bandana, revealing deep scars across his scalp. Can cost you everything. Before he could continue, a black orb shattered through the window, sending Kunao flying into the walls. A banner unfurled dramatically, the sexy and single Anko Mitarashi proctor of the second exam. Ibiki sighed. Always so flashy. This isn't the time for speeches, Ibiki, let's move on to the next test. Anko declared, striking a pose. Most of the male genin tried and failed to contain their nosebleeds. Read the room, Anko. No one's impressed, Ibiki muttered dryly. Anko blinked before counting the remaining genin. 78 left, huh? You're getting soft, Ibiki. Or this batch is just that good, he countered. Guess I'll fix that. Follow me to training ground 44. Be there in 5 minutes or you fail. Anko shouted before vaulting out the window. After a second of hesitation, nearly everyone except Team 8 jumped out after her. Wow, Anko-sensei's being nice today. No injuries yet, Hinata whispered. Keyword yet, Shino replied flatly. Naruto shrugged and summoned 2 clones to carry his teammates toward the Forest of Death. Team 8 arrived first, having trained there before. Only a few Anko, Niji, and Akunoichi from Kusan noticed Naruto's incredible speed. Once everyone assembled, Anko grinned widely. "Damn, brat. You've gotten faster. Anyway, welcome to the Forest of Death. Each team will get a scroll, heaven or earth. Collect one of each within 5 days. 5 days. What about food?" Koji cried. "Plenty to eat here if you're lucky enough to eat before something eats you," Anko said with a dangerous smirk, bloodlust flickering in her eyes. Koji gulped hard. Kiba tried to play it cool. "Heh, this'll be a breeze, right, Akamaru?" His dog whimpered and buried himself in Kiba's jacket. Before he could finish, a kunao whizzed past, grazing his cheek. Anko was suddenly behind him, licking the blood from his face. Not bad. Guess you've got good genes," she teased, pressing against him. Kiba's face turned crimson before he fainted, nose bleeding heavily. Anko rolled her eyes. "Wake the pup up so I can finish." Sakura gladly punched Kiba awake, sending him flying. A few genin snickered as Anko continued. "Since this forest has the lowest survival rate in Konoha, you'll all sign these waivers. That way, I'm not responsible if you die," she said cheerfully, clearly enjoying herself. Every team signed and received their scrolls, Team 8 getting an Earth 1 before heading to their assigned gates. Once theirs opened, Hinata activated her Byakugan, scanning for movement. Shino's insects spread out, and Naruto sent out a dozen clones to scout for other teams. They sprinted toward a familiar clearing teeming with leeches, one of Shino's favorite spots. "A team's closing in. If we want the leeches to trap them, we must hurry," Hinata warned. Naruto sped off, setting ninja wire across the trees, forming a net beneath the swarm. Moments later, a named team leapt through the branches only to be ensnared in Naruto's trap. Before they could cut themselves free, the leeches descended in a writhing wave, latching onto them. Their screams echoed for seconds before Shino stepped forward. "Surrender your scroll, and I'll call them off. Refuse, and they'll drain you dry," he said coolly. The terrified leader fumbled through his bag, tossing the scroll toward a tree. A blur Naruto appeared, snatched it, and knocked them out cold. When the struggle ended, Shino dismissed the leeches and freed the captives. Naruto returned, holding up their prize, another Earth scroll. Hinata sighed softly. "Still need a Heaven one," she muttered. Line break. The IWA squad had just wiped out an older Konoha team. "Heh, that was too easy," scoffed the blonde with a grin. "At least they had our scroll, Daiichi-kun," Kato Mari remarked. Their third member simply grunted in response. Daiichi Takumaya, the self-proclaimed leader of Team IWA, was known for his short fuse and dislike of being questioned. He specialized in long-range attacks. Tsuyoshi Nanami, their close combat expert, had the same short, muscular build typical of his clan. Kato Mari Wakashima, affectionately called Kato-chan, handled mid-range and support, using her unique dojutsu for reconnaissance. Each of them represented the top genin from Iwa's strongest clans, handpicked by the Tsuchikage himself to verify whispers about a supposed namikaze in the exams. Judging from their findings, the rumors seemed more than credible. The trio turned their gaze toward the forest's center, the direction of the tower. "So, do we go to the tower or find out if this Naruto guy really is a namikaze?" Tsuyoshi asked gruffly. Daiichi paused, considering their options before replying. "Tsuyoshi, use your Doton Jutsu to pinpoint their general location. Once you've got it, we'll move in quietly. When we're close enough, Kato-chan, use your eye to keep tabs from a distance. I don't want us getting spotted." Daiichi's voice was firm, leaving no room for debate. Both nodded in agreement as Tsuyoshi formed several hand seals and pressed his hands to the ground. Even if Daiichi named himself leader, his plans are solid, Kato admitted inwardly. "I've got them," Tsuyoshi said, springing forward as the others followed. They soon stumbled upon a group of unconscious genin, no scrolls in sight. Judging by the leech-like marks on their skin, their attackers were from the Abarame clan. The only Abarame competing was part of the team they were after. Predatory smirks crossed their faces. They knew they were on the right trail and that their discovery might please their leader greatly. Line break. Elsewhere, Team 8 had set up camp beside a narrow stream. Hinata tended a small fire while preparing a modest meal. Shino released his insects to survey the area, and Naruto darted through the woods setting traps to secure their perimeter. By the time Naruto returned, Hinata had just finished serving stew for Shino and herself. She smiled warmly and handed the pot and spoon to Naruto, who dug in at his usual lightning pace, finishing long before the others. "Hinata-chan, that was awesome. You're the second best cook I know, only Tokaji beats you," Naruto said with total sincerity. Hinata's cheeks turned pink as she walked over and planted a soft kiss on his cheek. "Thank you, Naruto-kun. Since I cooked, it's your turn to wash up," she said sweetly. "Got it, Hinata-chan," Naruto said brightly. He gathered their bowls and headed to the stream, heating the water with a bit of Katon chakra. After dinner, they assigned guard shifts. Soon, both Naruto and Hinata were asleep in separate tents, of course. Line break. The next morning, Team 8 broke camp and continued toward the tower. Around noon, a strange surge of energy rippled through the forest, catching Naruto's attention. "You two keep heading to the tower. I'll check it out. If I'm not back soon, make camp and call me using the seal, Hinata-chan," Naruto said quickly before vanishing in a blur of motion. Hinata sighed, resigned, and nodded at Shino before they continued on. Naruto moved like a gust of wind, passing by other genin teams who barely sensed his presence. Meanwhile, Team IWA split up. Kato pursued Naruto alone, while the others tracked Hinata and Shino. Naruto soon arrived at a disturbing scene. Kiba, Akamaru, and Sakura were unconscious. Sasuke knelt on the ground, screaming in pain as a pale man bit into his neck. Naruto's eyes hardened. With a sonic burst of movement, he appeared beside them, his punch nearly breaking the sound barrier. The man dodged just in time. "Kukyaku, who might you be?" the stranger sneered. "Naruto Uzumaki, the one who's going to stop you for hurting my friends," Naruto shouted, drawing a blade. Orochimaru's smirk faltered as a flash of red nearly took his head off. "Namikaze," Orochimaru hissed, ducking under another slash. "Oh, so you know the bloodline," Naruto said coolly, shrugging off his trench coat. "Good. That means I don't have to hold back." In an instant, Naruto flickered around the clearing, clashing with Orochimaru. Though none of his blows landed, he managed to snatch an earth scroll from the Sunin's pouch mid-fight. "You're out of your depth, Naruto-kun," Orochimaru said, smirking. But even he knew that at this speed and with Naruto's stamina he might not outlast the boy. From a hidden distance, Kato watched wide-eyed as Naruto clashed evenly with one of the legendary Sunin. Deciding she'd seen enough, she fled before getting caught in the chaos. "Shadow Clone Jutsu!" Naruto roared, summoning 9 clones. "Namikaze dicing flash barrage," they all shouted, blades gleaming as they rushed Orochimaru. For a few moments, Orochimaru deflected their strikes until one blade pierced through his chest. The clones vanished, leaving Naruto staring at what turned out to be a mud clone. Before he could react, several fireballs slammed into him. He extinguished the flames with a burst of wind chakra, though his shirt was scorched and his skin singed. The burns began healing instantly. Growling, Naruto turned toward the source, but pain flared through his arm. He looked down to see Orochimaru's snake-like neck extended, teeth sinking into his flesh as a black mark spread across his skin. "Consider yourself my next experiment," Orochimaru hissed before vanishing underground. Naruto examined the dark symbol forming on his arm and sighed. "Hinata can check this out later," he muttered, resealing his blades and retrieving his coat. He roughly woke Sakura, who scrambled to Sasuke's side in panic. Before Naruto could say a word, a mental tug signaled Hinata's call. He disappeared in a flash of red, startling Sakura. Reappearing at his team's new camp, he found Hinata and Shino waiting. After explaining what happened, he sat down only for Hinata to tug off his coat. Her face flushed when she saw his bare chest, but she quickly focused on the dark mark on his arm. The curse mark had expanded from his shoulder to his elbow, forming a swirling, tribal-like design. Activating her Byakugan, Hinata saw traces of malevolent chakra slowly being purified by Naruto's own bloodline energy. She explained this, and he smiled, kissing her forehead. "See? Nothing to worry about, my princess," Naruto said gently. Hinata turned scarlet. He'd never called her that before. Oh make. That same night, Team IWA camped further downstream from Team 8. Tsuyoshi wandered up the river to wash up. He hated feeling dirty despite being a Doton user. Finding the water pleasantly warm, he stripped down and started cleaning himself. But just as he finished, the water suddenly turned boiling hot, scalding him from the waist down. Screaming, he bolted back to camp, skin bright red and blistered. "Where are the burn salves? Guys, help me," he yelled. Daiichi doubled over laughing, while Kato fainted from a nosebleed. Only then did Tsuyoshi realize his clothes were still upstream. Mortified, he dashed back to retrieve them and returned minutes later, barely covered. Muttering curses, he dug through their packs for the ointment before locking himself in his tent, vowing vengeance on this cursed forest. Back at Team 8's camp, Shino briefly thought he heard a distant scream but ignored it. It was fading anyway. Once Hinata recovered from Naruto calling her princess, the team prepared to leave. With both scrolls secured, nothing stopped them from heading to the tower. Using shadow clones to carry Hinata and Shino, Naruto sped through the forest, reaching the tower in under a minute. As they entered, Naruto glanced at Hinata and smiled softly. He wasn't sure why he'd called her his princess, but somehow, it felt right. Naruto hadn't even noticed Hinata and Shino calling out to him until they mentioned the scrolls. Their words snapped him back to reality. With an awkward grin, he hurriedly took the scrolls out and spread them open across the floor. The markings inside were dense with seals. It took Naruto a moment to recognize that it was a summoning array, something he had seen in his father's Fuinjutsu manuals. A sudden burst of smoke filled the room, and when it cleared, Iruka stood before them. "Hey everyone, congrats. You're the second squad to reach this point," Iruka announced warmly. "You hear that? We're amazing," Naruto yelled proudly. "I've missed seeing that energy, Naruto," Iruka said with a fond smile. "Same here, sensei," Naruto replied, grinning wide. "All right, follow me. I'll take you to your quarters for the remainder of the exam," Iruka said as he led the trio further into the tower. Line break. When the 5 days ended, all the genin who had passed gathered in a vast arena. A tall statue of 2 clasped hands forming the ram seal stood at the center, surrounded by viewing platforms clearly meant for spectators. "Congratulations to all who survived the second stage of the Chunin exams," boomed the voice of the Hokage. He began explaining that these tests served as substitutes for war, preserving balance among the nations. Just as he was about to detail the next step, a coughing fit interrupted him. "Forgive me, Hokage-sama, cough. May I cough? Explain this part," came a weak voice. "Go ahead, Hayate-kun," said the Hokage kindly. Hayate gave a slight bow before facing the genin. "I'm Cough Hayate Gecko, proctor of the Cough third exam. The next phase is a tournament in 1 month's time. However, cough there are too many participants," he explained between coughs. "This guy looks like he should be in a hospital," thought Naruto and a few others dryly. "What do you mean by too many?" Ino asked, frowning. "Many influential people come to watch these matches," Hayate said. "They only have time for the best competitors, so we'll hold preliminary rounds right now. If you feel unfit to fight, raise your hand. From here on, it's every individual for themselves." Kabuto immediately lifted his hand. "I can't fight properly. I lost hearing in my left ear," he said. Hayate nodded, signaling a Chunin to escort him away. "The matches will be random," Hayate continued as a wall panel slid open, revealing a digital screen. "The first match will be..." The screen flickered and stopped on Sasuke Uchiha vs Yoroi Akada. "Everyone except the fighters, move to the viewing area," Hayate ordered. The battle began with Sasuke trying to rely on his Sharingan, but every time he used chakra, pain flared in his neck. Yoroi made things worse by draining Sasuke's chakra through direct contact. In the end, Sasuke managed to win using taijutsu techniques that clearly weren't his own. Once it was over, Kakashi immediately appeared beside Sasuke and vanished with him in a flicker. Tenten vs Temari of the Sand. Tenten opened with her deadly precision, unleashing a barrage of weapons, but Temari countered effortlessly with wind-style techniques. When Tenten used her trump card, Twin Rising Dragons, Temari stopped it cold. With one sweeping gust, she hurled Tenten into the air and let her crash painfully onto her giant fan. Medics rushed in while Lee and Guy watched anxiously. Kiba and Yazuka vs Gaara of the Sand. Kiba prepared to fight, but Akamura whimpered and backed away. What do you mean he smells like blood and death? Kiba whispered, paling. Proctor, we forfeit, he shouted. Hayate nodded, and Gaara, though annoyed, returned to his team who all subtly stepped away from him. Sakura Harano vs Ino Yamanaka. This bout was disappointing. The two spent more time yelling at each other over Sasuke than actually fighting. It ended in a double knockout, their sensei dragging them off in shame. Shino Abarame vs Misumi Tsurugi. They faced off silently. Misumi sneered. Just surrender before I kill you, he said. Begin, shouted Hayate. Misumi lunged, stretching his limbs to coil around Shino, locking him in a chokehold. Give up, or I'll break your neck, he hissed and then twisted hard. But instead of a corpse, Shino's body crumbled into a swarm of insects that immediately latched onto Misumi, draining his chakra. He collapsed in a limp heap, barely recognizable. Winner, Shino Abarame. Hayate declared. Shino gave a curt nod and rejoined his team. Kankuro of the Sand vs Tsuyoshi Nanami. As the two faced off, Hayate raised his hand. Begin. Tsuyoshi formed quick hand seals and launched forward, propelled by shifting rocks. His punch shattered Kankuro's body only for it to break apart into wood. The real Kankuro emerged behind his puppet. That was close, he sighed, readying Crow. Tsuyoshi frowned. It won't be next time. Before he could move, Crow's mouth opened, firing poisoned needles. Tsuyoshi dodged as he formed more seals. Doton, rock armor jutsu, he roared, surrounding himself with stone plating. The needles clattered harmlessly off as he charged, smashing Crow to pieces and slamming his fist into Kankuro's chest. Blood sprayed as Kankuro fell. Winner, Tsuyoshi Nanami. Hayate announced as medics carried Kankuro away. Shikamaru Nara vs Kaidomari Wakashima. Shikamaru sighed. So troublesome, he muttered. The match began, and Kaidomari immediately threw kunao and shuriken with unnerving accuracy. Her eyes glowed faintly with chakra, some sort of dojutsu, Shikamaru guessed. Both prepared traps simultaneously. An explosion went off, blanketing the area in smoke. Kaidomari smirked until she realized she couldn't move. A shadow crept toward her and connected to her own. Shikamaru stood at the end of it. Shadow possession successful, he drawled. Mimicking her movement, he had her pick up a kunao and slice her own palm. You might want to surrender before this gets ugly. Grinding her teeth, she said, Proctor, I surrender. Winner, Shikamaru Nara. Hayate called. Naruto Uzumaki vs Rock Lee. Yosh. Now I can prove I'm the fastest genin alive. Lee shouted. He scribbled something in his notebook while Naruto appeared on the arena floor in a flash. Already ahead of me in speed, Naruto-kun. Lee exclaimed. Naruto smirked. Then let's see who's really faster. In an instant, Lee vanished in a blur of green, stopping on the far end of the arena. Naruto grinned. You're quick, Lee, but to me, it's like slow motion. Yosh. You're truly amazing, Naruto-kun. Lee replied before attacking again. Naruto dodged every strike with ease. Lee. Take them off, yelled Guy from above. Are you sure, Guy-sensei? Lee asked. Guy responded with a gleaming smile and a thumbs up, the signature nice guy pose. Lee flashed a confident grin before leaping back, landing atop the statue hands. He rolled down his leg warmers, revealing massive weights strapped to his ankles. With a grin, he unbuckled them and dropped them beside him. Seriously? You think losing a few pounds will change anything? Tamari scoffed, unimpressed until the weights hit the floor with an earth-shaking crash, carving deep craters and rattling the arena's foundations. Ah, so light. I can move like never before. Lee shouted gleefully before vanishing from sight. Naruto barely managed to raise his guard in time to block the first strike. Guess I'll have to stop holding back, Naruto said coolly as both vanished in blurs of motion. To the untrained eye, the fight had disappeared into a storm of sound, fists cracking against flesh, wind whistling through their movements. Only the seasoned Jonin and the Hokage could follow the exchange clearly. Even the Hyuga clan could see only faint trails of chakra left in Naruto's wake. A moment later, the arena echoed with a heavy crash. Lee's body slammed into the wall, bruised and battered, while Naruto stood unharmed. Forgive me, Guy-sensei, but I must stay true to my path, Lee thought as he forced himself upright. First gate of opening, release, he roared as chakra burst around him like a storm. Front lotus, he yelled, trying to send Naruto airborne, but Naruto dodged cleanly. Gate of healing, release. Gate of life, release. Lee's skin flushed red and his eyes turned ghostly white. The sheer force of his chakra shattered the tiles beneath him. Reverse lotus. Lee howled, charging in a blur of motion. His strikes connected again and again, driving Naruto upward with brutal speed. In a dizzying flurry, Lee reappeared around him, then brought his heel down in a crushing drop that sent Naruto crashing to the ground in an explosion of dust. When the smoke cleared, Naruto stood perfectly fine, no scratches, no cracks in the earth around him. Good thing I blocked all of that, he said casually. Otherwise, that fall might have actually hurt. Lee's eyes widened, shock turning to frustration, then to a proud, pained smile. Yosh. Naruto-kun, you're truly a worthy rival, Lee said, breathing heavily. If it's alright, I'd like to call you my eternal rival. Naruto smiled. I'd like that, Lee. That was one of my best fights. Lee grinned before collapsing unconscious. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. Hate declared. The spectators stood stunned, most hadn't even been able to see what had happened. Even the Hokage had missed parts of the exchange. Koji Akimichi vs Daiichi Takumaya. Koji had refused to fight until Asuma bribed him with the promise of a barbecue feast. Instantly, Koji's eyes lit up like flames of hunger and determination. Daiichi smirked arrogantly, thinking it'd be an easy win. His mistake came when he called Koji fat. Human boulder. Koji roared, transforming into a spinning sphere of fury, ricocheting off the walls like a cannonball. Daiichi sighed. I wanted to save this for later, but fine. He raised his hands, blackened palms split open to reveal grotesque mouths hidden within old burn scars. He reached into his pouch, the mouths chomping noisily as he dodged Koji's attacks. When they finished, they spat out small clay spiders. Daiichi hurled them imperfect and misshapen, yet deadly. They latched onto Koji. Katsu, he shouted. The spiders exploded, blasting Koji across the arena. When the smoke cleared, Koji lay sprawled out, dizzy and defeated. Winner, Daiichi Takumaya. Hate announced. Daiichi smirked smugly and rejoined his team. Would the final two contestants please enter the arena? Hate called. Hinata trembled slightly as she looked at Neji. Naruto took her hand gently. Don't be afraid. I believe in you, my Haim, he whispered. She smiled softly before stepping forward. Hinata Hyuga vs Neji Hyuga. You should surrender now, Hinata-sama, Neji said coldly. Hinata looked up to Naruto, he smiled reassuringly. She nodded and slid into her gentle fist stance. Fine, Neji said, mirroring her stance. Begin. Neji lunged instantly, his palms striking in rapid succession. Hinata dodged and countered with graceful precision, landing a few light hits. But when she had the chance to finish him, she hesitated. She couldn't bring herself to truly harm her cousin. Neji leapt back, glancing at faint chakra burns on his arms, minor annoyances. Hinata, however, was struggling, her arms were numb, her chakra points sealed. Still, when she looked at Naruto and saw his encouraging smile, she stood back up. You can't win, Neji said harshly. You lack the strength to stand against me. I'm not fighting just with my own power, Hinata replied, voice trembling yet strong. I fight with the strength of those who love me. Neji scoffed. That must be a short list. It has one person who matters most, Hinata said, charging once more despite her pain. Naruto watched from above, tears welling in his eyes. Her attacks grew weaker. Neji, growing impatient, struck a heavy blow to her chest, sending her sprawling and coughing blood. Hate was about to call it, but she forced herself up again. I won't quit. I refuse to lose because I gave up, she said shakily. That's my no Arnindo. Neji snarled and darted forward for a killing strike, but was restrained by the proctor and both their sensei. Pathetic. The main house always gets special treatment, Neji spat. Guy's expression turned grave. And yet, no protection for my student. Naruto appeared beside Hinata, twin blades drawn and poised at Neji's chest. After a tense moment, he sighed, sealed them away, and gently lifted Hinata into his arms. "I love you," he mouthed softly. Hinata's eyes fluttered before she fainted. Later, Naruto wandered through the village, frustrated. Kurane was busy training Shino, and the Hokage had assigned him a special teacher, one who was nowhere to be found. His upcoming opponent was Sasuke, and while he wasn't worried about Sasuke himself, the Sharingan concerned him. He needed countermeasures, genjutsu or tactics that could throw off those eyes. Flashback. The matchups for the finals were announced. Neji vs Tsuyoshi. Naruto vs Sasuke. Shikamaru vs Temari. Shino vs Daichi. The winner of the last would face Gaara. End flashback. Determined to prepare, Naruto searched for his elusive sensei. Passing the hot springs, he heard giggling. His irritation spiked, and then he saw an old man with long white hair perched on a branch, nose bleeding as he peeked into the women's bath. "Futon, Gale Palm!" Naruto barked, blasting the man straight over the fence. A chorus of furious screams followed, along with several very painful-sounding smacks. 10 minutes later, the man crawled out, bruised and battered. Upon spotting Naruto, he immediately straightened up, pretending nothing had happened. "Oi, kid, did you see who attacked me with that jutsu? I need to teach them a lesson," he said indignantly. "That was me," Naruto replied coolly. "Why would you wait? Do you know who I am?" The old man began to pose dramatically. "I did it because you're supposed to be training me, Jiraiya," Naruto said flatly. Jiraiya blinked in surprise. "You know who I am?" "Of course. Why wouldn't I know my father's mentor?" Naruto answered with a sly grin. Jiraiya's expression froze. "He knows? Since when?" "So, you're aware of your parents?" Jiraiya asked, suddenly serious. "I've known since I became a genin," Naruto said calmly. "You weren't supposed to find out until you were a chunin or awakened your bloodline," Jiraiya muttered, puzzled. Naruto smirked, then vanished in a flash of crimson light, reappearing an instant later. Jiraiya's jaw dropped. "Incredible! You've already awakened it? It took Minato years to master." "You can thank my furry tenant," Naruto said lightly. "His chakra's fire-based, so I ended up with fire as my secondary element, wind being my strongest." Jiraiya grinned. "Fascinating. The Uzumaki bloodline must have refined the mix of chakra perfectly. Are we gonna train or not?" Naruto said impatiently. "Yeah, sure thing. We'll begin tomorrow, be at training ground 15 by 7 in the morning," Jiraiya said before vanishing in a swirl of leaves with the body flicker technique. "Training ground 15, huh? That's near the waterfall where those civilian girls hang out when it's hot, and I live in the land of fire, it's always hot. Damn that old perv," Naruto muttered with a mischievous grin spreading across his face. He darted back home and created 50 shadow clones, who immediately began preparing what would become his biggest prank since earning his genin rank. While his clones worked, Naruto sat down and flipped open his father's journal, scanning the notes on Fuinjutsu that led to the development of the beacon seals used for the famous tri-pronged kunao. The information fascinated him, giving him bits of knowledge he could use later. That's when he stumbled across a section that sparked an incredible idea. Minato had once experimented with elemental-based sealing arrays, traps that reacted differently depending on what chakra they were infused with. Combining the seals found on explosive tags with chakra trigger seals and then charging them with wind chakra would create a seal that, when triggered by someone not marked as safe, would explode with gale force winds. Naruto's smirk widened as he sent more clones to work on crafting them. Jiraiya might be his teacher for the finals, but that didn't mean Naruto couldn't develop his own tricks. "Inuegakur. Sir, the squad sent to Konoha has returned," reported a masked operative. "And their findings?" asked the elderly Tsuchikage. Kato Mari confirmed that the Namikaze heir resides in Konoha and is participating in the Chunin exams. "2 of our genin have also advanced to the finals," the ninja replied. "Send word to all available jonin and chunin. We'll strike Konoha during the finals," ordered the Tsuchikage, his tone resolute. The operative bowed and disappeared into the shadows. So the snake was telling the truth. Looks like Iwa and Oto will move together, the Tsuchikage thought grimly. Training ground 15. The next morning, Naruto met Jiraiya at the field, struggling to hide a sly grin. "All right, brat. Today I'm teaching you how to summon the legendary Toad Clan. Jiraiya announced excitedly. Naruto's eyes lit up. He had always dreamed of signing the same contract as his father, and now, with Jiraiya's help, that chance had arrived. Biting his thumb, Jiraiya weaved several hand signs. Kuki Yos no Jutsu, he called, summoning a toad that appeared holding a massive scroll. Here you go, Jiraiya-sama, the toad said before vanishing in a puff of smoke. Now, kid, bite your thumb and press each fingertip onto the scroll in blood, preferably with the hand you'll use for summoning, instructed Jiraiya. Then sign your name beneath it in blood. Naruto followed the instructions, smiling when he saw his father's name Minato Namikaze already inscribed there. With pride, he wrote Naruto Namikaze beneath it. Next, you'll need to offer blood and chakra, Jiraiya continued. Chakra summons the toad, but blood is more symbolic. Back in ancient times, summoning required multiple people sacrificing blood to call a beast forth. Naruto nodded, then focused his chakra, pressing his hand to the ground. Kuki Yos no Jutsu, he shouted as a small toad appeared in a puff of smoke. Yes. First try. Naruto cheered. The toad blinked, looking up at him. Name's Gamekaki. So you're the new summoner? Not bad. It took the old man a whole day before he managed to summon one of us, the toad said casually. That's enough, Kichi, you can go now, Jiraiya said, trying to salvage his dignity. Sure thing. I'll tell Pops you're better than the old perv. He'll wanna meet you himself. He's the big guy, Gamabunta. You'll know him when you see him, Gamekaki said before vanishing. Alright, brat, keep summoning larger toads. I'll, supervise from over there, Jiraiya said, hopping up a tree and pulling out his telescope. He chuckled creepily at the sight of 3 girls near the waterfall until a horde of bulky Akimichi men in swimsuits splashed into the water, blocking the view completely. Jiraiya gagged and tumbled out of the tree, while Naruto burst into laughter, mentally praising his clones. Just keep training, you little rascal, Jiraiya grumbled. Got it, Ero-sensei. Naruto replied between laughs before resuming his work. Naruto spent the day summoning toads of all sizes, quickly befriending many of them. Jiraiya observed with pride Kurene's chakra training had really paid off. By late afternoon, Naruto gathered a massive amount of chakra and slammed his hand to the ground. The explosion of smoke cleared to reveal none other than Gamabunta himself. Jiraiya. Why'd you summon me? The giant toad bellowed. Jiraiya flinched. Wasn't me, Bunta, it was my new student, he said, pointing to Naruto standing proudly atop the toad's head. Hello, Gamabunta-sama. It's an honor to meet you. I'm Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruto said respectfully. The pleasure's mine, kid. You remind me of your old man, Gamabunta said with a grin. Even Jiraiya looked stunned. No one got along with the boss toad that fast. Alright, boy, time for your test. Stay on my head till sunset. If you do, you'll be recognized as my summoner and share a drink with me after. Challenge accepted. Naruto shouted, channeling chakra to his feet. As Gamabunta bounded across the forest, Jiraiya leaned back with a sigh. He knew either the sun or Naruto's stamina would decide this one. Still, summoning the boss toad on day 1 was unbelievable, but then again, both Namikaze and Uzumaki blood ran through the boy's veins. All afternoon, Naruto clung to Gamabunta's head while the massive toad leapt across the countryside. Just as the sun began to sink, Naruto slipped, flying into the air. In desperation, he hurled a kunai marked with a beacon seal above Gamabunta and teleported midair, grabbing it before landing back atop the toad's head. The sun dipped below the horizon, and Naruto passed out from exhaustion. Gamabunta caught him with his tongue and handed him to Jiraiya. He's got guts. Guess that drink'll have to wait, the toad said before vanishing in a massive cloud of smoke. Smiling proudly, Jiraiya carried the unconscious boy home. Alright, kid, Jiraiya said the next day, holding up his hand. I'm going to teach you a jutsu your father invented. This is the Raise Nana technique modeled after the tailed beast bomb. A swirling orb of chakra formed in his palm, blasting a hole through a nearby tree. Naruto's eyes widened in awe. That's amazing. Teach me, Ero-sensei. Calm down, kid. It took the 4 years to perfect, and 3 months for me to master, Jiraiya said, sighing as he pulled out 2 water balloons. This is step 1. Spin the water inside with your chakra until it bursts like this. The balloon bulged erratically before popping in his hand. Naruto nodded, taking one for himself. Concentrating his chakra, he tried to spin the water, but it only wobbled slightly. Keep practicing that while I go talk to the Hokage, Jiraiya said, vanishing in a blur. At the Namikaze compound. Hundreds of clones filled the library, surrounded by books on sealing and Minato's research notes. They were experimenting with how to construct seals capable of storing elemental chakra for later use. Each time a clone discovered something worthwhile, it dispelled, sharing the knowledge with the rest. Outside, others worked with brushes and sealing tags, refining designs based on the feedback. One clone smiled as it studied a newly drawn seal. It wasn't the exact goal, but it had potential. Focusing for a moment, it vanished in a flash, teleporting directly to Naruto using their shared chakra link. Training Ground 15. A clone emerged beside Naruto, passing him the seal it had crafted before vanishing in a puff of smoke. Naruto examined the design closely for a few moments, then grinned in satisfaction. Forming another clone, he pressed the seal onto its back. The clone gave a short nod before sprinting away, first through the Namikaze compound, then straight into the forest beyond. Its speed increased until it became nothing but a faint blur between the trees. Meanwhile, Naruto resumed his efforts to pop the water balloon in his hand. Hokage's office. Jiraiya appeared through the window with a loud knock, not bothering to wait for permission before stepping inside. "Why didn't you tell me?" He already knew, he demanded. Hiruzen simply smiled, that familiar grandfatherly expression never fading. "I figured he'd let you in on it eventually," Hiruzen replied calmly. "Now I understand why Iwa's been so on edge," Jiraiya muttered. "I'd panic too if my worst enemy's kid started showing the same potential, and a bloodline limit on top of that." "There's not much to be done," Hiruzen said with quiet pride. "If IWA believes they can eliminate Naruto, they're in for a rude awakening. The boy's already dangerous thanks to his father's bloodline. Add in those clones of his, and even an army might just be an inconvenience." Jiraiya sighed, standing to leave. "The kid thinks I'm still with the Hokage, guess I can squeeze in some research before I head back," he thought, grinning lecherously. Several hours and several furious kunoichi later, Jiraiya returned to the training grounds just in time to see Naruto burst the water balloon with his palm. Naruto grinned proudly before collapsing to the dirt. Jiraiya chuckled, assuming exhaustion had finally caught up to him, unaware that a faulty seal had caused dozens of clones to disperse at once, flooding Naruto's mind with their memories and knocking him out cold. Sighing, Jiraiya hoisted Naruto onto his shoulder and carried him to Ichiraku Ramen, waiting until he came to. A few minutes later, Naruto stirred. "Hey, kid, ramen's waiting for you," Jiraiya said softly. Instantly, Naruto shot upright and began devouring the food like a starving wolf. Jiraiya laughed to himself. "Just like her," he murmured. After several bowls, Jiraiya paid the bill and they parted ways, Naruto heading home, and Jiraiya wandering off toward the bathhouse for some more research. The following weeks followed a steady rhythm. Jiraiya taught Naruto the Rasengan, while Naruto's clones focused on sealing techniques. It took 2 weeks for them to finalize a seal capable of storing elemental chakra, and another 2 to find volunteers to fill it. The first 2 stages of the Rasengan came easily to Naruto, but the final step, maintaining control, proved stubbornly difficult. The chakra kept bursting the balloon apart. Through grueling control drills and endless meditation, Naruto refined his focus until, by the end of the month, he could summon a perfectly formed Rasengan in one hand, its power fierce enough to obliterate stone. The arena. 2 hours before the exams began, Naruto stepped onto the empty arena floor. With a sly grin, he moved across the mock battlefield, placing seals in carefully chosen locations where they'd remain hidden but useful during combat. Once satisfied, he waited at the gate for the others. Everyone except Sasuke arrived on time. The proctor, a new face, greeted them with a casual smile and a thumbs up. "Eyes forward, everyone. The stands are packed today," he reminded them. Naruto frowned. "What happened to Hayate?" "He's in the hospital," the man answered. "I'm Genma, your proctor for this round. Once the Hokage finishes his address, head up to the observation deck. Niji and Tsuyoshi stay put." As Naruto looked around, he noticed Sasuke was still missing. "Figures," Naruto thought with mild irritation. He better show up, I'm not missing the chance to test my seals against those Sharingan eyes. In the cage box above, Hiruzen greeted the Kaze cage. Long journey, Kazekage Dano, he asked politely. Yes, Hokage Dano. I imagine the trip to Suna would have been much tougher for you, the Kaze cage replied coolly. I made it here easily enough, and we're the same age, came a gravelly voice as the Tsuchikage entered. Ah, Tsuchikage Dano, what a pleasure, Hiruzen greeted. His eyes drifted to the two guards behind him. And this must be your granddaughter? She's grown. Yes, my Kuratsuki, Onaki grumbled as he eased himself into his seat, wincing. Ugh, my back, these dem travels. Hiruzen chuckled before standing and amplifying his voice with chakra. Honored guests and citizens of Konoha. Welcome to the final stage of the Chunin selection exams. You've waited long enough, behold the finest shinobi of our allied villages. Let the finals begin. The crowd erupted with cheers as the competitors took their places. The first match, Niji Hyuga vs Tsuyoshi Nanami. Genma announced, leaping aside. Begin. You should surrender, IWA trash, Niji said coldly. Your village breeds failure. Your fate is already sealed. Tsuyoshi glared, flying through hand seals. Earth style, rock spear jutsu. A sharp stone lance shot toward Niji, who effortlessly swatted it aside with a gentle fist strike. Sneering, Niji dashed forward, but Tsuyoshi leapt back and clapped his hands again. Earth style, stone armor, he shouted as thick rock coated his body. Niji frowned. You really think using the same trick twice will work? I just need one good hit, Tsuyoshi grunted. The rest can wait. A foolish plan, Niji muttered, lowering his stance. You're already within my field of divination. Gentle fist, 8 trigrams 64 palms. He moved in a blur, striking precise points across Tsuyoshi's armored frame. Each hit shattered rock and shut down chakra pathways beneath, leaving the Iwanin exposed and gasping. Still conscious, Tsuyoshi slammed his hands together and sank into the earth. Niji calmly tracked him with his Byakugan, then drove a chakra-infused palm into the ground. A muffled scream echoed. As Niji turned away, Tsuyoshi erupted upward, face scorched with chakra burns. Laughing wildly, he raced through signs. Earth style, earthen murder. The arena quaked as hands of dirt and stone lunged toward Niji. With a deep breath, Niji spun rapidly. Kaiten. A dome of chakra exploded outward, obliterating the attack. The instant it ended, Niji darted forward, delivering a devastating series of strikes that ended with one near the lung. Tsuyoshi dropped, unconscious before he hit the floor. The crowd roared. In the Hyuga stands, shock rippled. Niji had effortlessly displayed 2 secret clan techniques. Perhaps it's time he learns about his father, Hayashi thought solemnly. Winner, Niji Hyuga. Genma declared as medics carried Tsuyoshi away. Next up, Naruto Uzumaki vs Sasuke Uchiha. Genma called. Naruto flashed into the arena, but Sasuke was absent. If Sasuke Uchiha does not arrive in 5 minutes, he will be disqualified. Genma warned. Naruto leaned back under a tree, arms crossed, waiting. Just before time expired, Kakashi and Sasuke appeared in a blur. Sorry, are we late? Kakashi asked cheerfully. Genma's glare answered for him. With a nervous laugh, Kakashi vanished to the stands. Match start. Genma shouted, leaping clear. Sasuke smirked. Give it up, dope. You can't beat my Sharingan. Naruto yawned, then disappeared, and reappeared behind him, driving a solid kick into Sasuke's ribs. Maybe I should surrender, Naruto mocked. After all, your Sharingan is so powerful I probably can't even touch you. Oh wait. Sasuke's eyes locked onto Naruto, his Sharingan whirling to life. Without wasting another word, he lunged forward, aiming to surprise his rival. His fist struck true at least, that's what he thought until the illusion faded, revealing only a splintered log where Naruto had stood. Naruto's smirk widened. You know what annoys me about those fancy eyes of yours? They make using ninjutsu a pain. I never know when you'll copy me. So, I decided to improvise. Forming the ram seal, he activated a tag on the discarded log. The kanji for wind flared before a burst of air slammed into Sasuke, throwing him across the arena. His arms and back were sliced with shallow cuts as he hit the wall. Catching himself with chakra-enhanced feet, Sasuke retaliated instantly. His hands blurred through seals before he inhaled sharply. Fire style, Grand Fireball Jutsu, he roared, launching a roaring sphere of flames. Naruto exhaled and mirrored his movements, his smaller fireball surging forward at double the speed. The two waves of heat met midway and snuffed each other out in a violent explosion of sparks. As the smoke cleared, Naruto's hands came together again in the ram seal. Sensing danger, Sasuke leapt from the wall just as another seal detonated, hurling jagged debris across the battlefield. "This is getting dull, dope," Sasuke sneered, charging chakra into his arm. "I couldn't agree more," Naruto chuckled. "Chidori!" Sasuke bellowed, lightning screaming in his palm, the air filling with the shriek of 1,000 birds. But when he dashed forward, the energy around Naruto shifted. A sudden, invisible gale burst outward, halting Sasuke in his tracks. His Chidori flickered, then vanished into nothing. Sasuke's rage boiled over. "What is this? You didn't even cast a jutsu. Tell me how you did that, Naruto." Naruto sighed, as did Kakashi, Kurane, and the Hokage, all watching from above. "If you must know, team," Naruto said casually, "I've mastered the wind nature to the point I can manipulate it freely. No seals, no jutsu, just control. Costs some chakra, but I've never been short on that." Sasuke strained against the pressure but couldn't move an inch. Naruto tilted his head. "You might want to yield. There's a lightning seal under your feet, and if I feed it chakra, let's just say it'll hurt." Glancing down, Sasuke saw the glowing mark beneath him. Frustrated, he channeled chakra into his limbs, but it was useless. Finally, gritting his teeth, he looked to the proctor. "I surrender," he spat. "Winner Naruto Uzumaki," Genma announced. The wind barrier dispersed, freeing Sasuke. Naruto turned toward the stands, but before he could take a step, Sasuke hurled a kunao. Naruto didn't even glance back, a quick pulse of wind chakra stopped the blade midair. Umbu operatives appeared instantly, restraining Sasuke and taking him away. "A shame, such wasted potential," the Hokage murmured. The Tsuchikage's eyes narrowed as he studied Naruto, the spitting image of the fourth Hokage, walking away in silence. Naruto strolled leisurely to the competitor's booth, stopping for a quick snack beside Hinata before heading up. By the time he arrived, Shikamaru's match had ended. He'd forfeited as usual, claiming it was too troublesome to finish. Temari, though victorious, looked irritated. Winning by default was almost worse than losing. "The winner is Temari of the Desert. Next, Shino Abarame of Konoha vs Daiichi Takumaya of IWA," Genma announced. Both genin took their positions. "You should quit now," Daiichi said smugly. "You've already lost." Conceding without an attempt would be illogical, Shino replied in his calm monotone. "Yeah, crush him, Shino," Naruto yelled from above. Daiichi ignored him, reaching into his pouches. The mouths on his hands spewed clay spiders that he hurled toward Shino. "Katsu," he shouted, detonating them, but Shino had already vanished, leaving a substitution behind. Minutes passed with explosions shaking the field as Shino evaded and released his Kakaicha beetles. Neither dared close the distance, both knew a single mistake could be fatal. Then Shino stopped running, arms raised. Beetles poured from hidden spots all around. Daiichi, startled, flared his chakra to dispel the genjutsu masking them. While he'd been distracted, Shino had been planting his swarm under illusion cover. "Think this will scare me?" Daiichi barked. "I'll show you what happens to bugs when they meet explosives." He tossed more clay into the swarm. Massive blasts erupted, wiping out much of Shino's colony. "Proctor," Shino said evenly, though fury burned beneath his calm voice, "my hive has sustained critical losses. I withdraw." "Winner Daiichi," Genma declared. 15-minute intermission before Daiichi faces Gaara of the Desert. "Take this time for rest and refreshments." When the break ended, Genma called them down again. Daiichi strutted confidently onto the field. "You're done, freak. When I'm through, they'll need to scrape what's left of you off the wall." Gaara's voice was emotionless. "Mother craves your blood." "Begin," Genma shouted, leaping back. The cork from Gaara's gourd shot at Daiichi like a bullet. "Damn it!" Daiichi cursed, stumbling back before crafting clay spiders. He sent them forward, each grew larger and leapt at Gaara, only to be blocked by his sand. The explosions left his defense untouched. Undeterred, Daichi kept attacking with clay birds that slammed into Gaara's sand dome and burst apart. Inside, Gaara didn't even flinch. Then his hand rose, and streams of sand lashed out. Daichi countered by throwing explosives to intercept them, dancing between strikes, but his supply was running low. With desperation setting in, Daichi pulled a pre-sculpted clay bird and infused it with chakra. The bird expanded, large enough to ride. Mounting it, Daichi soared forward, believing he could crush Gaara before the sand could reform. He couldn't have been more wrong. Gaara simply raised his arm again, and a colossal sand hand erupted from the ground, seizing Daichi and his mount. "No! Let me go!" Daichi screamed as the pressure built. In a panic, he crafted 2 clay centipedes and sent them burrowing. Hoping to blast himself free, he detonated them. Katsu! The centipedes exploded too close, so close that the blast triggered his clay bird as well. The resulting chain reaction erased him entirely. It took nearly 10 minutes to clean what was left of Daichi from the arena walls. "Winner Gaara of the desert," Genma said softly, his tone subdued. Silence fell over the crowd. Parents shielded their children's eyes, no one clapped. Even the hardened shinobi looked away. "Oh, Daichi," Onaki muttered in the cage booth. "Always too ambitious for your own good." In the stands, Kato Mariwakashima watched in horror. One teammate dead, the other mentally broken. Despite Daichi's arrogance, he'd saved them countless times. Her heart sank as she turned and quietly left. A squad of Chunin and medics worked swiftly to repair the damage and cleanse the field. Once the debris was cleared, Genma returned to the center. After receiving the Hokage signal, he raised his arm, ready to announce the next match. "Will Naruto Uzumaki of Konoha and Niji Hyuga of Konoha please step down to the arena floor?" the announcer called. A streak of orange blurred across the sand as Naruto skidded into position. Niji arrived moments later, composed and confident, his expression suggesting he expected a straightforward victory. "As I told the IWA trash, surrender now, Uzumaki. Like Hinata, you're worthless. Dead last in the academy, stuck on a team of failures. Fate has already handed me this match." Niji taunted. "If fate were real, this village wouldn't still be standing. Now let's see if you can even land a hit," Naruto replied, calm on the surface but boiling inside. This man had insulted Hinata unforgivable. Anyone who harmed those he cared for would pay, badly. "Begin!" Genma shouted, leaping back. Niji didn't hesitate. He surged forward, unleashing a flurry of precise Juken strikes. Naruto slipped aside cleanly each time. Frustration crept over Niji. He had spent the last month sharpening his speed to end Naruto quickly, yet every blow missed. "Come on, Niji. Hit me!" Naruto taunted as he dodged. Niji's rage burst forth and the Byakugan flared. He finally took the match seriously. Strike after strike flew and none connected. Naruto's laugh rang through the arena as he continued to evade Niji's onslaught. Niji howled in fury and increased his speed until Naruto's laughter fell silent. "I thought training under the same sensei as Lee would make you fast like him. Turns out you're pathetic. Now it's my turn." Naruto suddenly stopped dodging and countered with a rapid series of heavy punches aimed at Niji's vital points. Niji was slammed backward, ribs cracking, organs bruising from the impacts. Regaining his senses, he glimpsed Naruto clearly only to be struck again in a blind spot, bones cracking from another brutal blow. Slowly pushing himself up, Niji stared at Naruto. "How?" he groaned. "You idiot. I trained with Hinata for months, I know the strengths and holes of the Byakugan. Get up, your obsession with fate and that victim complex of yours will keep you moving. Oh poor me, I have a seal on my head, I must show everyone I'm special," Naruto mocked. Niji rose and assumed combat stance. "You know nothing of living under a seal," he yelled. "A stain on your being that never fades." Naruto laughed, a sound laced with both derision and hurt. "It matters not. You are in my field of divination Juken, 8 trigrams 64 palms." Niji shouted, lunging. Naruto watched Niji close in as if time slowed. He unsealed one of his swords and used it to parry every strike. When Niji launched the final palm, Naruto kicked him hard, sending him smashing into the arena wall. In a blur, Naruto pinned Neji with one arm while the other held the blade to his throat. Yield, Neji Hyuga. Fate might have claimed you the winner, but I just kicked Fate's ass and yours, Naruto said, chuckling. Neji searched Naruto's eyes and found a hard, ominous glint promising retribution should he refuse punishment for hurting Hinata. I surrender, Proctor. I've been beaten, Neji sighed. The pressure pinning him to the wall vanished and he crumpled. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki, Genma announced. Silence fell, then Kiba started clapping, followed by the other genin, then the Jonin sensei. Like falling dominoes, the crowd erupted, shouting, cheering, and applauding Naruto. As medics gently lifted Neji, Naruto stepped up and whispered into his ear. Fate doesn't control our lives. If it did, I'd be dead already. Don't stop fighting for what you believe in. If you want your clan united the way Hinata does, fight with her, not against her. Fight until you cannot, then keep fighting. With enough determination, you can change your clan. Satisfied that he'd avenged Hinata and planted seeds of change, Naruto walked away. Will Gaara of the desert and Temari of the desert come down? Genma called. Proctor, I forfeit. Temari shouted from the stands after witnessing the devastation Gaara and Daichi had caused earlier. The audience agreed with her decision. Okay, half-hour break for Naruto to rest, then the final round of the Chunin exams. Genma declared. The crowd cheered and dispersed to place bets, buy food, or stretch. Naruto spent the break beside Hinata as she tended to his aching muscles. The brutal strikes he'd delivered to Neji had taken their toll now that adrenaline faded. I think I'll have to go all out in this next fight, Hinata-heim, he murmured. Hinata understood he'd use every jutsu he had to survive. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. I believe in you, she whispered. Thanks, Naruto said, smiling from ear to ear. Will Naruto Uzumaki of Konoha and Gaara of the desert report to the arena? Genma called. Both appeared simultaneously, Naruto's face set with grim resolve, Gaara's twisted with bloodlust. Mother will have your blood, Uzumaki. You will prove my existence. Gaara hissed. Tell your mother she can't have it. I'm using it, Naruto shot back. Begin. Genma yelled, stepping aside. Gaara's sand erupted into grasping tendrils aimed to seize Naruto. Naruto unsealed his swords and sliced through every tendril that reached him. Time to go offensive, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto bellowed. 10 clones sprang up, cutting through sand and clearing a path. Gaara watched sand shoot up around him as Naruto tried to evade it. Every attack met the sandy barrier. Naruto gathered wind chakra and in a flash appeared before Gaara, landing a heavy punch that sent him skidding back. Gaara stood, a web of cracks across his face. A second sand shield, Naruto observed. Katon, mythical phoenix fire. He spat small fireballs, each one extinguished by sand. Fine. If fire won't work, futon, beast wave palm. Naruto shouted, sending a blade of wind. It struck the sand shield and nearly pierced it, but the defense held. I'm tired of this. Mother will have your blood now, Gaara snarled, forming a sand dome around himself. Naruto felt a demonic chakra rising inside the orb. He had to stop it. Raisnon seemed futile, the sand would simply redirect it. Fire and wind had failed. What if I combine them? Naruto thought as he leaped back, gathering chakra. The crowd leaned forward as Naruto abruptly rose and shaped hand seals. Shakuton, piercing heat, he cried. A beam of light shot from his palm and began turning the sand dome into glass. Every sand shinobi watched, stunned. An ancient bloodline technique, once extinct, was shattering an unbreakable defense. When Naruto could see through the dome, he formed a Raisnon. Every shinobi gasped. The technique was legendary. Naruto charged, drove the Raisnon into the glass section, and poured more chakra into it. The dome shattered, the Raisnon slammed into Gaara's gut. Gaara screamed as the Raisnon tormented him. Sand held him for a moment but gave way, the orb ground into his flesh. He was hurled into the arena wall, his stomach seared with chakra burns and torn where the Raisnon had struck. What is this feeling? Is this pain, Mother? Is that my blood? Mother, what's happening? Gaara wailed, clutching his wounds. His eyes snapped to Naruto. You did this. I will not let you erase my existence, he screamed. Gaara's sand whirled, coalescing into a tanuki-like torso. A sand claw shot toward Naruto, but he dodged and sliced it off, it regenerated instantly. Gaara laughed, unhinged. "Mother will have your blood soon," he shrieked, trailing a sand tail and eyes wild. "Time to step it up," Naruto thought and formed quick seals, hurling a fireball. The flame didn't hurt the possessed genin but provided a smoke screen. As the smoke thinned, a sand arm lunged and crushed Naruto. "I've got you now, Uzumaki. When I'm done, I'll kill everyone here." Gaara cackled, then the Naruto in his grip dissolved into smoke. "Raise non!" cried the real Naruto, driving the spinning sphere into the base of Gaara's tail. For a moment the sand collapsed, then Gaara began forming seals. Around the arena, several hidden Suna and Oto shinobi glanced to the Kaze cage for a signal to attack, but it never came. "When did you get the curse seal? Why didn't you tell me? It could be extremely damaging." Jiraiya gasped in alarm. "Nah, it's fine, my bloodlines filtered out the negative chakra when he bit me, I was just curious why it absorbed that guy's power," Naruto said. Jiraiya cautiously traced his finger over the swirling design in Naruto's arm. With a small application of chakra he suddenly tapped into a chakra supply that shouldn't have been possible without Naruto being either a toad or a statue of one. "I'll have to confer with the toads, but I think it's nothing to worry about. I still don't trust that seal though, so don't draw from the power there, alright?" Jiraiya said. Naruto nodded. He was about to join the fight here when an alarm sounded from the other side of the village. "Go, they need you more there than I need you here," Jiraiya said. Naruto nodded before sprinting along the wall. With no seals to flash to, he would have to take the long way around. When Naruto arrived, he saw a large army marching towards the walls. They were being led by the Tsuchikage himself. "Impossible, nothing can defeat Yugo in his awakened state," Kabuto exclaimed. Onaki narrowed his eyes. "It looks like we'll have to do it ourselves then," Onaki said as he signaled to his men to charge. "Tsuchikage, I am giving you and your men one chance to surrender and leave without casualties. I don't care about a grudge you have against my father, he may have killed your shinobi but he is dead now. Your little revenge scheme is pointless and will cause more casualties than you can hope to deal with," Naruto yelled calmly. "You don't scare us, boy, you will pay for your father's crimes against the people of Iwa," yelled Onaki in response. "How many of Konoha's people did you kill, Tsuchikage? How many people did your armies slaughter before my father took it upon himself to stop you? He was not in the wrong, he was protecting his home, as I am doing now," Naruto yelled. "You don't stand a chance, little brat. These are my elite forces, nothing you could hope to accomplish will stop us from killing you and destroying your home," Onaki yelled. "You've made 3 mistakes today, Tsuchikage. Number 1, attacking even after seeing that I can use my father's jutsus. Number 2, not bringing your Jinchuriki. Number 3, thinking that I would ever allow you to attack my home and leave here in one piece. So again I'm giving you this final opportunity to leave and live to see another day," Naruto yelled as he started to glow with an orange light. "If any of you run away, I'll kill you myself," Onaki growled, his voice amplified by chakra. His men gulped. "Have it your way, old man." "Shadow Clone Jutsu," Naruto yelled. The other Konoha ninja present could only watch in utter shock as an army of Narutos appeared. Each Naruto pulled out a 3-pronged kunai. "Shadow Clone Namikaze Flash Barrage!" screamed Naruto as each clone threw their kunai into the enemy army. As the kunai landed, each Naruto clone charged a raise non. This was followed by an explosion of red light that completely encompassed the battlefield. When the flash died down, it revealed Naruto standing on the wall calmly and smoke covering the ground. "Futon, Gale Wind Palm," Naruto said calmly as a veritable hurricane of Kyuubi-powered wind blew the smoke away. Onaki could only gasp in shock. The ground was littered with the bodies of his army. Many were still alive but none were conscious. They all had chakra burns and broken bones, the trademark of the Raise Non. "This is your last chance, old man. Take your surviving men and flee back to your village. My father may have been strong, but with his jutsu and my 9-tailed tenant, you have no chance to survive this fight," Naruto said. Onaki looked at his remaining men, or rather Akatsuki and Kuratsuki. "Begin gathering the surviving men, I will take care of this brat personally," Onaki said calmly. His bodyguards began to protest, but a quick glance told them to drop it. Onaki floated up to hover in front of Naruto. "My men will leave, but right here, right now, you and I will fight. My son died because of your father, now I expect to collect a debt owed to me," Onaki said. Naruto's eyes hardened. "You are a sad old man. clinging to a self-inflicted pain and expecting the world to repay you for it. You caused your own suffering by starting the war in the first place. Naruto said calmly. Jinten Oniki said as a cube of light appeared in his hands. The cube surrounded Naruto and in seconds started to compress. It is done, nothing can escape my jutsu, and all that will be left of your cursed family will be microscopic particles. Oniki said smugly. To the onlookers it looked like Naruto simply disintegrated, causing Oniki to laugh maniacally. Until a cheer sounded from the Konoha shinobi. He heard someone clear their throat as he felt cold steel press against his throat. I can teleport. Breaking down to molecules is child's play for the Namikaze clan. Naruto said calmly. Oniki slowly turned around and saw Naruto floating in the air behind him. The air under Naruto's feet was a visible platform as his chakra worked to condense it into a physical platform. Your jutsu are ineffective against me, and if you choose to continue fighting I'll show you why my mother was known as the Red Death. Naruto said, the swords in his hands glowing with chakra. I yield, grunted Oniki. Now Tsuchikage, take your men and leave. If I see you anywhere near Konoha with ill intentions again, I won't hesitate to slaughter your entire shinobi force. Naruto stated calmly. Oniki looked into the boy's eyes and saw a steely determination there. This boy may not like to kill, but if it meant defending his homeland then he would do it in a heartbeat. As he was looking into the boy's eyes they turned blood red and slitted. And I have the power to stop you even if you bring backup. Naruto said menacingly. Oniki knew the might of a Jinchuriki, and if what he said about holding the Kyuubi was true then even if he brought his own Jinchuriki they would do little good against him. Oniki narrowed his eyes before slowly backing away to the surviving members of his army. Are we fleeing, Jiji? Questioned Kuratsuki. Yes we are, for now we run. But soon revenge will be ours, we just need some reinforcements. Oniki said evilly. The IWA troops slowly began the process of escaping. With Hiruzen. Hiruzen was struggling, the fight had been hard from the start. He was no longer in his prime, but the other Hokages had been resurrected at their very best. Orochimaru with his cursed technique had retained his own youthful power as well. But despite the being stacked heavily against him he was still managing to hold his own. But that was beginning to change, his chakra was running low and his body was starting to lose function. He had a shadow clone fighting each of the resurrected Hokages and he was personally fighting Orochimaru. The fight seemed to be fairly even, the Kusanagi against the adamantine staff, Sunin against Kage. Suddenly Inma's arm sprouted from the side of the staff, grabbing Orochimaru's sword and throwing it away. Hiruzen smirked as he swung his staff at Orochimaru, who used his flexibility to dodge the swing. When he was standing upright again he smirked. Hiruzen's eyes widened as suddenly the Kusanagi had sprouted from his stomach. Coughing up blood, Hiruzen could only watch as his shadow clones poofed out of existence, his former teachers now focusing on his prone form. It's over now, sensei, the village may still stand but you will not survive this. He stated calmly. Nodding grimly, Hiruzen reached into his equipment pouch and dropped a kunao to the ground. In a flash of red Naruto appeared, an Otonin still impaled on his sword. Said Otonin was flung into the purple barrier, the body burnt to a crisp in seconds. So the Hebai team is back for more? Naruto taunted calmly. You again, snarled Orochimaru, kill him. He yelled to his undead soldiers. The two Hokages charged at Naruto, both preparing to use their expansive collection of powerful jutsu. Naruto looked between the two men, realizing who they were he jumped back. A wooden dragon and a water dragon collided together, exploding into splinters and vapor. This may be a little tougher than anticipated. Naruto said with a grim smile on his face. He created a single shadow clone that grabbed Hiruzen and flashed away to the hospital. Now I can go all out without having to worry about the old man. He said. Naruto sat in a meditative position for a few seconds as the Hokage dashed towards him, preparing to strike him down. Naruto vanished in a flash, kicked Tobirama in the back, launching him into his brother. The two were quick though, reacting with precision and skill. Hashirama caught his brother and launched him back towards Naruto. Seeing his chance, Naruto swung his sword, bisecting the resurrected ninja. He watched as the two halves walked their way back together again. Kukyuku, it will take more than just your speed to beat these opponents, Naruto-kun. Orochimaru smirked, he was certain he was about to be rid of a nuisance. I don't care, Hebai team, nothing will stop me from finishing what Jiji started. Naruto exclaimed. Suddenly wooden hands launched out of the roof under Naruto and tried to wrap around him, only his bloodline allowed to escape in time. Shadow Clone Jutsu, Naruto cried as a group of clones appeared behind him. The clones started running through seals. Katon, Grand Fireball Jutsu! Yelled the clones. Naruto held his hand up as the fireballs shot past him, a concentrated blast of wind chakra shot forward. The wind collided with the wall of fireballs and turned it into a moving inferno. Futon Katon, Infernal Tsunami, the original Naruto yelled as the wall of superheated fire collided with the two Hokages, or rather almost collide with them. When the fire died down, two domes were visible. One was a boiling dome of water that looked as if it had almost given out, and the other was a burning, blackened dome of wood. Oh please Naruto-kun, these are two of the strongest ninja this village has ever seen. A genin such as you has no hope. Orochimaru taunted. I don't care how strong they are, I won't let you turn them on the home they once loved. They strived to build this village and now I will kill them to see their dreams live on to shape this village for further generations. Naruto yelled, inwardly he was worried. He knew he couldn't win this fight, not without help, he just couldn't stop them. When did you get that curse mark? Why didn't you tell me it could be really dangerous? Jiraiya blurted, alarmed. It's fine. My bloodline filtered out the corrupt chakra when he bit me. I was just wondering why it absorbed that guy's power, Naruto replied. Jiraiya hesitantly ran a finger across the spiraling pattern on Naruto's arm. With a small push of chakra he unexpectedly tapped into a reserve that shouldn't exist unless Naruto was a toad or a toad statue. I'll need to consult the toads, but I don't think it's an immediate threat. Still don't tap into that power, okay? Jiraiya warned. Naruto nodded. He was about to rejoin the battle when an alarm echoed from the opposite side of the village. Go, they need you more there than I do here, Jiraiya said. Naruto gave a quick nod and sprinted along the wall. With no seals to flash, he'd have to take the long route. When he arrived he saw a massive force advancing on the walls, led by the Tsuchikage himself. Impossible, nothing can overcome Yugo in his awakened state. Kabuto cried, Onaki's eyes narrowed. It looks like we'll handle this ourselves, then, Onaki said, signaling his troops to charge. Tsuchikage, I'm giving you and your men one chance, withdraw now and leave without bloodshed. I don't care about whatever grudge you hold against my father, he is dead. Your revenge will only bring needless deaths, Naruto shouted, his voice steady. You won't intimidate us, brat. You'll pay for your father's crimes against IWA. Onaki barked back. How many of Konoha's people did you slaughter, Tsuchikage? How many innocents fell before my father stopped you? He was defending his home the same way I'm defending mine. Naruto yelled. You don't stand a chance, little runt. These are my elite troops. Nothing you attempt will stop us from destroying your village and killing you. Onaki roared. You made 3 mistakes today, Tsuchikage. 1. Attacking after seeing I can use my father's techniques. 2. Not bringing your own Jinchuriki. 3. Believing I'd let you assault my home and walk away. This is your final chance to leave and live another day. Naruto declared as an orange glow began to envelop him. If any of you flee, I'll kill you myself, Onaki growled, his voice thick with chakra. His soldiers swallowed. Fine. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto shouted. The Konoha shinobi watched in stunned silence as an army of Narutos materialized. Each clone drew a 3-pronged kunai. Shadow Clone Namikaze Flash Barrage. Naruto screamed as every clone hurled their kunai into the enemy ranks. As the blades struck, each clone formed a raise, a burst of crimson light detonated across the battlefield. When the glare subsided, Naruto stood calmly on the wall, smoke blanketing the ground. Futon, Gale Wind Palm, Naruto said, and a Kyuubi-charged gale swept the smoke away. Onaki staggered. The field lay littered with his soldiers, many alive but unconscious, their bodies scorched and bones broken, the Rasengan's unmistakable mark. This is your last warning, old man. Take your survivors and retreat to IWA. My father was powerful, but between his jutsu and the 9 tails within me, you won't survive this. Naruto said. Onaki glanced at his remaining men, really just Akatsuki and Kuratsuki. Gather the survivors. I'll handle this brat myself, Onaki ordered. His guards began to object until a single look from him silenced them. Onaki rose and hovered before Naruto. My men will leave, but you and I fight now. My son died because of your father. I will collect what's owed, Onaki said. Naruto's expression hardened. You cling to self-made sorrow and expect the world to pay for it. You started this war, you made your own pain, Naruto replied coolly. Jinten. Onaki intoned as a cube of light formed in his hands. It wrapped around Naruto and began compressing. It's finished. Nothing escapes my jutsu. Your cursed line will be reduced to microscopic dust, Onaki sneered. From the onlooker's perspective, Naruto seemed to disintegrate. Onaki laughed triumphantly until a shout rose from the Konoha ninja. A throat cleared and cold steel touched Onaki's neck. I can teleport. Molecular breakdown is child's play for the Namikaze clan, Naruto said evenly. Onaki spun and saw Naruto hovering behind him, a visible platform of condensed chakra under his feet. Your techniques don't work on me. Keep fighting and I'll show you why my mother was called the Red Death, Naruto warned, the swords in his hands humming with chakra. I yield, Onaki grunted. Now, Tsuchikage, leave with your men. If I see you near Konoha with hostile intent again, I'll slaughter your entire force, Naruto said quietly. Onaki peered into the boy's eyes and saw unflinching resolve. This child might hesitate to kill, but for his village he'd do it without mercy. As Onaki stared, Naruto's eyes flashed blood red and slitted. And I can stop you even with reinforcements, Naruto added ominously. Onaki, aware of a Jinchuriki's terror, understood that even bringing his own Jinchuriki wouldn't help. Onaki narrowed his eyes and slowly backed toward the remaining troops. Are we retreating, Jiji? Kuratsuki asked. For now. We run. But soon we'll have our revenge. We only need reinforcements, Onaki said with malice. The IWA soldiers began to withdraw. With Hiruzen. Hiruzen was faltering. The battle had been grueling from the start. He was no longer at his peak, yet the opposing Hokages had been resurrected in their prime. Orochimaru, bolstered by his cursed techniques, retained youthful strength. Despite the odds, Hiruzen had managed until his chakra waned and his body began to fail. He'd set up shadow clones against the resurrected Hokages while personally engaging Orochimaru. The struggle remained close, Kusanagi against adamantine staff Sunin vs Cage. Suddenly Inma's arm burst from the staff, snatching Orochimaru's sword and tossing it aside. Hiruzen grinned and swung his staff, Orochimaru twisted away with serpentine ease. As he straightened, Hiruzen's eyes widened. The Kusanagi had erupted from Hiruzen's stomach. Coughing blood, Hiruzen watched his shadow clones vanish, his former students now converged on his prone form. It's over, sensei. The village may stand, but you won't, one declared calmly. Hiruzen nodded gravely and dropped a kunao from his pouch. In a flash of red, Naruto appeared, an Otagaku or shinobi still impaled on his blade, thrown into the purple barrier and incinerated instantly. So the Hebei's back for more, Naruto taunted. You again, Orochimaru snarled. Kill him, he ordered his undead soldiers. The two Hokages lunged at Naruto, readying their vast arsenals of jutsu. Naruto sized them up and leapt back. A wooden dragon and a water dragon collided midair, shredding into splinters and steam. This might be tougher than I thought, Naruto admitted with a grim grin. He spawned a single shadow clone that grabbed Hiruzen and teleported him to the hospital. Now I can go all out without worrying about the old man, Naruto said, settling into a brief meditative pose as the Hokages closed in. Naruto vanished and reappeared, kicking Tobirama into his brother. The two reacted swiftly. Hashirama caught his sibling and launched him back. Naruto swung his sword, bisecting the resurrected ninja. He watched the halves rejoin, unfazed. Kukyaku Naruto-kun, speed alone won't beat them, Orochimaru chuckled, confident the nuisance would be eliminated. I don't care who they were. I won't let you turn them against the home they loved. They built this village, I'll kill to preserve their legacy. Naruto shouted, though inwardly anxious. He knew defeating them alone was unlikely, he just couldn't stand by and let it happen. Take my chakra and show that snake who truly reigns supreme, roared the Kyuubi from inside his cage. Volunteering to help me for once, furball. Naruto thought dryly. If you die, those reanimated Hokage will end up enslaving me. The idea of that slimy serpent controlling my strength disgusts me. I'd rather rot in this sewer than serve him, the fox spat. Naruto smirked, granting the beast's chakra free passage. It's over, Orochimaru. I may normally sit at low Jonin level, but with some backup, I'm untouchable. As crimson chakra burst from his stomach, it enveloped him in a fox-shaped aura with two lashing tails. In an instant, Naruto vanished, reappearing before Hashirama and driving a crushing punch into his gut. Tobirama barely reacted before receiving the same fate. Unfortunately, both brothers recovered quickly. You'll need more than that, Naruto-kun, Orochimaru sneered. I'm just getting started, snake face, Naruto growled. The two Hokage lunged forward, blades drawn. As they closed in, a surge of red chakra erupted outward like a shockwave. The energy cloak surrounding Naruto dissipated as the burst consumed it, but the two resurrected shinobi weren't as fortunate. The blast flung them against the barrier, vaporizing the control kunai in their skulls, and moments later, their bodies turned to ash. Now, it's just you and me, Orochimaru, Naruto declared coldly. Wrong, it's only me. Orochimaru shouted, rushing in with the Kusanagi blade. Naruto hurled a kunai at him, the Sunin easily tilted his head, letting it whistle past. It seemed harmless until Naruto appeared above him in a flash of red. Raise non! Naruto bellowed, driving the swirling chakra sphere into Orochimaru's back. The force slammed him into the ground so hard he rebounded upward. Before gravity could reclaim him, Naruto propelled himself forward, leaving trails of tearing wind that shredded the roof behind him. Orochimaru tried to defend himself, but agony ripped through his arms as a deafening boom followed. He hurtled backward, and would have hit the barrier if the Sound 4 hadn't dropped it to catch him. Orochimaru-sama, we must retreat, one of them urged. Orochimaru tried to push them away only to realize his arms no longer moved. Every bone, muscle, and tendon had been obliterated. Horror filled his eyes as his followers created a smokescreen and vanished. Moments later, Umbu swarmed the ruined rooftop just as Naruto collapsed. One caught him and carried him away while others chased the retreating enemy. The Umbu holding him glanced down with pride as villagers applauded, watching the unconscious hero being taken to the hospital. After delivering Naruto to the nurses, the Umbu adjusted his mask, tucking a strand of red hair behind it before leaving. Naruto's eyes fluttered open, the sterile white ceiling confirming his location. Groaning, he sat up amid the tangle of wires and machines. Jiraiya dozed nearby, notebook in hand. Futon, Gale Palm, Naruto murmured, sending a blast of wind into Jiraiya's face. The Sunin twitched before sneezing violently. That's a pretty rude way to wake your godfather, Jiraiya muttered flatly, rubbing the new bump on his head. It's definitely the funniest, though, Ero-sensei, Naruto laughed, grinning while scanning for the call button. Pressing it summoned a nurse almost instantly. Hey, I'm good to go now. Can you unplug me? He asked. Of course, Namikaze-sama, the nurse replied brightly. Naruto sighed as she carefully detached the wires, occasionally blushing from her enthusiasm. Jiraiya, meanwhile, scribbled notes with suspicious intensity. Thanks. So, Jiraiya, how long have I been out? Naruto asked once she left. A week, kid. You drained yourself dry of chakra, Jiraiya explained. Naruto let out a low whistle. Now, come on, someone wants to see you. Naruto quickly dressed, and the two walked through the quiet hospital halls. The person we're visiting isn't doing well, Jiraiya warned solemnly as they entered a room guarded by Umbu. Inside, an elderly man lay hooked up to countless machines. Jiji! Naruto shouted, rushing to Hiruzen's bedside and gripping his hand. Up close, the damage was horrifying. The skin around his wound had turned a dark, decaying green. Without the steady beep of the monitor, he'd seem dead. Naruto-kun cough, it's good to see you. I never got to thank you for what you did during the invasion, Hiruzen said weakly. Tears filled Naruto's eyes. What happened, Jiji? He asked, voice trembling. Orochimaru's blade carried a poison we've never seen. The medics can't treat it, and our only expert is long gone. Then I'll bring her back. The village still needs you. Naruto said firmly. Jiraiya smiled faintly. He hadn't needed to say a word. That's partly why I called you here, Hiruzen rasped. I want you and Jiraiya to find Tsunade Senju. She can save me, and take my place as Hokage. His speech dissolved into violent coughing as alarms blared. Doctors rushed in, pushing Naruto and Jiraiya outside. She's not coming back willingly, is she? Naruto asked quietly once the door shut. No, convincing her will be tough, Jiraiya admitted. Harder than any battle I've fought. Naruto nodded, then vanished in a flash of red, leaving behind a note. Dear Sensei, I've gone to pack and inform my team. Meet me in an hour, Jiraiya read aloud, shaking his head. That brat, but the irritation vanished as a curvy nurse walked by, and his focus shifted instantly to his notebook. Meanwhile, across the village, several Naruto clones gathered supplies and sealed gear into scrolls. Others went to find Kurane and Shino. The original Naruto stood before the Hyuga compound. I'll inform Hayashi-sama that you wish to see Hinata-sama, a guard stated curtly. Wouldn't it be faster to just tell Hinata I'm here? Naruto replied. The guard's eyes narrowed dangerously. Hayashi-sama should know that someone like you wants to meet with her, he said coldly. Excuse me, came a calm yet commanding voice from behind. What did you just call the fourth Hokage, sir? Hayashi-sama. I was just. The guard's words turned into a scream as a hidden seal on his forehead flared under Hayashi's jutsu. My apologies for that, Naruto-san. Some lessons must be taught the hard way, Hayashi said calmly. Please, let him go. I get it'll take time for people to accept me for who I am, Naruto replied. Admirable, Hayashi said with a faint smile, but he insulted my daughter's teammate, and her boyfriend. Naruto stiffened. Now, come in. Hayashi released the guard and entered the compound. The injured man hurried to open the door. Naruto followed nervously, not eager for the conversation ahead. Inside, Hayashi led him to a sitting room. Bring Hinata here, he told a passing branch member, who bowed and left. I've had 3 major regrets in my life, Naruto-san, Hayashi began. First, failing to be the father Hinata and Hanabi deserved. Second, losing my brother too soon. And finally, neglecting the child of one of my dearest friends. The council forbade much contact, but that's no excuse. I was in denial that they were gone. His quiet words hung heavily between them. And why exactly are you sharing this with me, Hayashi-sama? Naruto asked carefully. Because, Naruto-san, Hayashi began, on the night of the Nine Tails assault, I lost one of my dearest comrades. Minato was the best man at my wedding and the one who pushed me to confess my feelings to Hitomi. Likewise, Kushina convinced Hitomi that I wasn't as terrible as she first believed. If not for the council's fear of the beast within you, you likely would have grown up here with Hinata and Hanabi. Hayashi explained calmly. And forgive me, Hayashi-sama, but, why tell me this now? Naruto asked once more, his tone confused. Because, Naruto, I sense you worry that I might oppose your bond with my daughter, Hinata. I simply wish to say that it would be an honor for me to one day call the son of Minato my son-in-law, Hayashi said with a composed expression. Naruto's face instantly turned scarlet, and so did Hinata's as she entered the room, only to faint seconds later. That's a bit ahead of where we are now, Naruto stammered while rushing to catch her. I'll leave you two to it. I assume you came to brief Hinata about your mission with Jiraiya-sama, Hayashi said as he stood and exited the room. About an hour later, Naruto's clones regrouped at the Namikaze compound. They looked around, realizing the original wasn't there, and grinned mischievously before vanishing in a puff of smoke leaving behind a small sealing scroll on the floor. Meanwhile, in the Hyuga compound, Naruto pulled away from Hinata's lips as a sharp headache and a surge of memories hit him hard. Stupid clones, he muttered, rubbing his temples. Hinata chuckled softly, then tugged him up by the hand. Come on, Naruto-kun. You still need to get ready and meet Jiraiya-sama. I'll walk you to the gate, she said firmly. Naruto nodded, retrieved the scroll from his home, then took Hinata's hand and sprinted off. Normally, he'd teleport, but he liked the feeling of her holding tightly to him as he ran. When they arrived at the hospital, Jiraiya was nowhere in sight. Give me a second to find Ero-sensei, Naruto said before summoning a clone. The clone disappeared, reappearing moments later with a half-asleep Jiraiya clutching his notebook. The sage's dreamy grin quickly shifted to irritation. Come on, Ero-sensei, we've got to move, Naruto laughed. Jiraiya grunted and started toward the village gate, Naruto and Hinata following. Along the way, Hinata received plenty of jealous glares, most of which she didn't notice but Naruto did. He frowned and clasped her hand protectively. Stay safe while I'm gone, Keep the necklace close, he said seriously. Hinata smiled and touched the small kunao pendant. I never take it off, Naruto-kun, she replied sweetly, making him smile back. All right, brat, time to go. The Hokage won't recover while we stand around, Jiraiya said, watching them share a final embrace. With one last kiss, Naruto turned and followed his master beyond Konoha's gates into the land of fire. In Iwa, the Tsuchikage sat reviewing a pile of documents containing records on his current shinobi genin, chunin, and 3 jonin. Summon the remaining flash killers. I'm reinstating the project. I want a new generation trained within 3 years, Oniki ordered sharply. But, Grandpa, that program failed before. The survivors were emotionless machines, soulless killers. I can't approve of turning children into that. Kuratsuka protested. It's not about approval. I am the Tsuchikage. My word is absolute, Oniki barked. Grinding her teeth, Kuratsuka bowed stiffly. Understood, Tsuchikage-sama, she said curtly and left with the files. Later, on the road, Naruto and Jiraiya stopped at a small clearing for the night. After setting up camp, Jiraiya rummaged through his kimono until he pulled out an old scroll. What's that, Ero-sensei? Naruto asked while spinning a tri-pronged kunao. This was written by your mother, Jiraiya said. It explains how to reverse the flow of the Uzumaki bloodline. Reverse it? Why would anyone separate elemental chakra back into its base components? Naruto asked, puzzled. Idiot. Kushina became famous using this very technique. She could divide her chakra into yin and yang. Her yin chakra crafted near unbreakable genjutsu, and her yang chakra could form solid constructs, mainly her chakra chains. Jiraiya opened the scroll, revealing diagrams. Oh, but why show me that now? You can't use those jutsu, Naruto pointed out. If I have to call you an idiot again, you'll return to Konoha minus a few fingers, Jiraiya growled. You'll be training as we travel. Sarutobi would haunt me if I let one of his shinobi grow rusty. I'm not rusty, Naruto retorted, sniffing his own armpit. Jiraiya twitched, pulling a kunao from nowhere. Laughing, Naruto teleported to the edge of the forest. You can't catch me, old perv, he shouted just before a fist came flying from behind. A startled yelp echoed through the trees as the chase began. Half an hour later, Naruto lay bruised and groaning beside the fire. I trained your father, Jiraiya said, chuckling. I know that technique better than anyone alive. You might think you're unpredictable, but I've sparred with both your mother, the craziest kunoichi I've met, and your father, the fastest man alive. I thought merging the two would make you impossible to read, but clearly, I was wrong. Naruto only groaned. Jiraiya tossed a scroll at his head. Read that tonight. Tomorrow, while we travel, explain the theory. If you've learned enough, I'll let you start training with it. He then placed a seal on the ground, activating a protective barrier around the camp, and went to bed. Naruto examined the glowing patterns. Barrier seal, detection seal, and lightning discharge? Overkill, Ero-sensei, he muttered before retreating to his tent and unrolling the scroll. The next morning, Jiraiya woke with a groan, stretching his stiff back. I really need to stop sleeping in tents, he muttered. Oi, Naruto, get up, he called. To his surprise, Naruto's head immediately popped out. Oh, morning, Ero-sensei. No, I didn't stay up all night reading, but a rabbit got zapped by your seal at dawn, so I finished the scroll then, Naruto said while packing with the help of clones. They resumed their journey, and hours later, while resting in a small town showing no sign of Tsunade, Jiraiya finally spoke. All right, kid, explain chakra separation, he said, hiding a grin. Finally. Naruto beamed. So, it starts by forcing your chakra network to flow backward for a few seconds, directing energy to the mixing points. The yin and yang begin separating, and you've got to keep them apart. Once you've got enough of each, you can use them. Pure yin is great for genjutsu or mental techniques like the Yamanaka clans, while yang can form physical objects or medical chakra strong enough to even regrow limbs if done right. Jiraiya blinked in disbelief. You memorized the whole thing. You could have stopped halfway, he grumbled. All right, start practicing separating and merging your chakra while we travel. Once you can do it instinctively, we'll move to advanced training. Naruto nodded, already standing to leave. Hey, idiot, let me finish lunch first. Jiraiya yelled as his student walked off. With a sigh, he paid for their meal and stepped outside to see Naruto tapping his foot impatiently. Come on, Ero-sensei. We've got to catch Tsunade. Naruto shouted, already running ahead. Yeah, you've got some kind of obsession with training, don't you? And listen, no shadow clones for this exercise. If you mess up separating chakra inside one, it might detonate. I've seen it firsthand. Kushina used to send me clones primed to blow with her messages. My front door was basically a monthly replacement project, Jiraiya cautioned. Naruto nodded silently and began practicing chakra separation as they continued walking. Back in Konoha. Inside a quiet tea shop, two figures cloaked in black robes patterned with red clouds sat calmly, wide straw hats shading their faces with dangling paper slips. Outside, Kakashi, Asuma, and Kurane strolled along the path, engaged in casual conversation. The two senior Jonin instantly sensed the immense chakra from the larger figure, and Kakashi immediately recognized the signature of Itachi Uchiha. So, Kurane, Asuma began suddenly, how's your team doing in terms of promotion? Well, poor Hinata didn't reach the finals, but we've already started a new regimen to help her for next time. Shino's progress was promising, though his opponent didn't give him much room to show everything he's capable of. Honestly, it wasn't his lack of skill, just bad luck. But after Naruto's performance in the exams and during the invasion, I wouldn't be shocked if he bypassed Chunin altogether and went straight to Special Jonin, Kurane explained. As she spoke, she noticed the cloaked strangers react to Naruto's name. Kakashi and Asuma picked up on it too. Well, we'd love to see how your team's coming along since they didn't reveal everything during the exam, Kakashi said lightly. Hinata and Shino are training with their clans right now, but I can show you Naruto's progress, Kurane offered, and both men agreed without hesitation. Just as a group of townsfolk passed between them, both parties vanished from sight. Moments later, Kakashi, Asuma, and Kurane stood knee-deep in a small river, facing the mysterious duo on the opposite bank. So, you saw through us, Kakashi-senpai? Itachi asked calmly, lifting the brim of his hat to reveal dark, onyx eyes. His partner followed suit, showing a shark-like grin filled with serrated teeth. So, what brings the Uchiha traitor and the hidden mists monster to Konoha? Asuma asked, drawing his trench knives and coating them with wind chakra. Kakashi raised his forehead protector, and Kurane began focusing her chakra for a genjutsu. We don't wish for conflict. Hand over Naruto, and we'll leave quietly, Itachi said with his usual calm. Speak for yourself. If they want to fight, I'll gladly shred them. Kisame sneered with a feral glint in his eyes. Doesn't matter what you want, we're taking you both down, Kakashi declared firmly. Itachi sighed, rubbing his temple before his eyes flared red with the Sharingan. Kakashi charged, but a massive sword swung past him, forcing him to retreat. Asuma gave him a sharp nod before lunging at Kisame, who smirked as the chakra from Asuma's blades got absorbed into Samehada, empowering him further. You'll have to do better than that, Kisame taunted. Before he could gloat further, Kakashi reappeared behind him, driving a kick into his back that launched him into a cloud of smoke. Katon, burning ash. Asuma roared, leaping back and striking his blades together, igniting the cloud in a fiery explosion. For a brief moment, he thought he had won until the flames cleared and Kisame emerged unscathed, protected by a thin veil of water. This might be tougher than we thought, Kakashi muttered. That's putting it mildly, Asuma replied dryly. Elsewhere. Kurane drew her kunao, locking eyes with the traitorous Uchiha before her. Though she'd never spoken to him, his mastery of genjutsu had always been her benchmark. Avoiding direct eye contact, she prepared her illusion. Demonic illusion, tree binding death, she called, and a massive tree erupted, ensnaring Itachi as Kurane appeared from its trunk, kunao pressed to his throat. This would be easier if you'd simply tell me where Naruto is, Itachi said evenly, ignoring the blade. You have no right to make demands. Kurane retorted, thrusting her kunao forward only for Itachi to dissolve into a flurry of crows. In an instant, the tree's branches turned against her, binding her tightly. Now then, Itachi said softly, where is Naruto? I'd prefer not to hurt you. You can search all you want, you'll never find him, she shouted. Itachi's smirk told her she'd just revealed more than intended. Thank you, Kurane-chan, he murmured before striking her across the head with his kunau's hilt, knocking her out cold. "Kisame, we're leaving. I've got everything we need," he announced. "Fine, fine," Kisame said with a grin, waving mockingly as he dashed to join him. "You're not going anywhere." Kakashi appeared before them, while Asuma positioned himself protectively near Kurene's unconscious body. "If you insist on standing in my way," Itaka said quietly. His Sharingan shifted. "Tsukuyomi." Kakashi collapsed instantly, barely conscious before blacking out. Kisame laughed and raised his foot to strike, but before he could move, Guy appeared, snatching Kakashi to safety and reappearing before Kisame in a blur, punching him squarely in the stomach. "I won't allow such unyouthful cruelty toward my eternal rival," Guy declared proudly. "It's time to go, Kisame. The Umbu will arrive any moment," Itaki ordered. "Heh, next time, weird guy, I'll be the one leaving you in pieces," Kisame growled with a crazed grin. With that, the pair vanished in a storm of crows. "Guy, we've got to get these two to the hospital," Asuma urged. "They're after Naruto and he's with Jiraiya-sama." "Very well, Asuma-san. Let's move with the flames of youth," Guy replied, flashing his trademark thumbs up and gleaming smile. Asuma sighed but nodded, hoisting Kurene while Guy lifted Kakashi, and the two sped off toward the hospital. Elsewhere, Sasuke stared down at the river, too stunned by Itaka's presence to move before but now driven by vengeance. Without hesitation, he dashed toward Konoha's gate. When the guards made him sign out, he scribbled his reason, to kill the traitor. Hours later, Kotetsu and Izumo noticed the note and sent an urgent hawk to the Hokage. "That kid's walking to his death," Kotetsu muttered, unaware the message would never reach Sarutobi. Meanwhile, Jiraiya stretched, yawning as dusk painted the horizon. "All right, brat, that's enough practice. Don't go lighting up the whole town with your chakra, it's bad manners," he grumbled, though secretly impressed by Naruto's determination. After just 3 days with Kushina's scroll, the boy was already learning to split yin and yang chakra, though keeping them apart still eluded him. "I'm close. I can pull it through the chakra point fine, I just need to learn to keep it stable," Naruto said in frustration. "How about we get a room there?" Jiraiya said, pointing to a nearby inn. "You can practice inside while I check the place out." Naruto agreed and soon sat cross-legged on one of the beds, chakra swirling visibly around him. Each time he tried shaping pure yang energy, it either collapsed or flared dangerously, tinting purple the sign of the Nine Tails interference. He always stopped before it could spiral out of control. A knock at the door interrupted him. "Coming, Ero Sennin. Forget your key again," Naruto shouted, swinging the door open only to freeze. Standing there were Kisame and Itaka. "Hello, Naruto-kun. We'd like you to come with us," Itaka said smoothly. "Yeah, that's not happening," Naruto said flatly, his expression hardening. In a flash, his swords were drawn, and he lunged at Itaka. The Uchiha slipped beneath the swing as Kisame moved forward, grinning wickedly, sword in hand. "Oh, I do enjoy the ones who fight back," Kisame growled. "Itaka," a new voice roared as Sasuke turned the corner, his Sharingan spinning violently. "Yo Itaka, that kid looks kinda like you," Kisame muttered, momentarily distracted as he blocked one of Naruto's slashes and ducked the next swing of Naruto's other katana. "He's my younger brother, the only one I spared," Itaka replied quietly. "I'll kill you, Itaka." "Chidori!" Sasuke bellowed, charging with lightning bursting from his hand. Itaka sighed, grabbed Sasuke's wrist mid-strike, and slammed his hand into the wall. "It appears you need a reminder of what happened that night." "Tsukuyomi," Itaka said as his eyes twisted into their Mangekyo form. Sasuke let out a choked sound before crumpling unconscious to the floor. "The guy's been ranting for years about killing you and you knock him out instantly," Naruto said flatly, ducking under Kisame's next devastating swing. "Can we take a time out?" Kisame froze mid-swing, glancing at Itaka for direction. "And why would you want a timeout?" Itaki asked curiously. "Just wondering, what do you think your odds are of beating me and Jiraiya-sensei together?" Naruto asked with a calm smile. "I imagine Jiraiya would be troublesome at the very least," Itaki answered truthfully. "Perfect," Naruto said before vanishing in a red flash and reappearing beside Jiraiya. "If you want to run, now's your window." "Kisame, we're leaving now," Itaki ordered sharply. Kisame nodded, this fight wasn't worth it. You're not going anywhere. Jiraiya shouted, slamming his palm onto the ground as the hallway turned into a fleshy pink tunnel. The Akatsuki pair bolted around a corner only for the walls to erupt in black flames. Well, damn, Jiraiya muttered as he watched Amaterasu burn through the toad's stomach lining. Naruto shared the sentiment silently as Jiraiya pulled a sealing scroll, painted a quick array, and absorbed the flames. Let's check on Sasuke, Jiraiya sighed, irritated by the escape. When they reached Sasuke, Jiraiya scratched his head, unsure how to carry the kid back. Dynamic entry, yelled Might Guy as he crashed his foot into Jiraiya's face, sending him into the wall. Oh no. My apologies, Jiraiya-sama. I thought you were Ataka's terrifying partner. He was blue, Guy, Jiraiya said flatly. I was peeking with my scratched forehead protector, visibility wasn't ideal, Guy replied seriously. Right, anyway, take this kid back to the village for me, Jiraiya said. Of course. As penance for striking a legend like you, I'll escort Sasuke safely to Konoha before sunset, or I'll run 500 laps on my hands carrying a boulder with my feet. And if I fail that... Enough, Guy. We get it, Jiraiya interrupted. Guy saluted, scooped Sasuke up, and sprinted off. That man's a little off up here, Naruto said, tapping his head. Jiraiya nodded and collapsed onto the bed. And to think those two idiots ruined my research time, Jiraiya grumbled before lying flat. Naruto sighed, sat on his bed, and kept experimenting with chakra chains, sometimes solid, sometimes fading away. A few days later. Welcome to Tanzaku Town, Jiraiya declared dramatically. Known for its gambling dens and the grand Tanzaku castle overlooking everything. Shouldn't we, see the castle then? Don't tell me you got us lost again, sensei. Naruto asked dryly. We're in the right town, but the castle should be right there. Jiraiya pointed at a mountain of rubble. Let's grab some food first. I'll check the ruins while you find a hotel. Sure. What about that tavern? Naruto pointed randomly. Fine by me, hopefully the waitresses are well endowed, Jiraiya said with a pervy grin, which widened when they stepped inside and his wish came true. But his expression quickly hardened into seriousness. Ero-sensei? You okay? Naruto asked, startled by the shift. Then Jiraiya forced a wide, fake smile. Tsunade. Long time no see. Tsunade set her sake cup down and smirked. Jiraiya? What brings you here, old toad? And who's the brat? Thought you swore off students after Minato. Couldn't say no when sensei asked me to train Minato's son, Jiraiya said smoothly. He's proven himself, too. How've you been, Shizune? You've grown a lot. I'm well, Jiraiya-sama, Shizune replied politely. Spare the pleasantries, Jiraiya. You didn't stumble across us by chance, Tsunade said sharply. So the destroyed castle was your doing, and Orochimaru's, Jiraiya said knowingly. What did he want? Not answering until you tell me why you're here, Tsunade countered, her words slightly slurred. What, I can't share a drink with my old teammate? Jiraiya said, but her glare silenced him. Fine. Orochimaru attacked Konoha with Suna and IWA support. Sensei's dying, stabbed by Orochimaru's poisoned blade. The council wants you to return, heal him, and maybe take the Hokage seat. So that's why his arms are ruined, Tsunade said. Still, no. The Hokage role's a curse. If Sensei's dying, that's his fate. Only a fool would take that title. Then you're calling my dad a fool? Calling my dream foolish? Naruto said quietly. If becoming Hokage's your goal, then yes, it's idiotic, Tsunade replied coldly. That's it. You and me, outside. Naruto growled, standing up. Tsunade chuckled but followed. Alright, brat, I'll play along. But I'll only need one finger, she said as chakra flared around her. Don't underestimate him, Tsunade, Jiraiya warned. He's mastered Minato's seals and is learning his mother's ability. And, for the record, he's the one who wrecked Orochimaru's arms. That made Tsunade hesitate before she squared up. Naruto, disgusted by her attitude, crouched low and blurred forward with blinding speed. She didn't flinch, just flicked him away with a single finger. Annoying, Naruto muttered, standing up. Round 2. He formed a raise non, threw a tri-pronged kunao, and prepared to warp only for Tsunade to catch and toss the kunai skyward. Naruto appeared midair, crashed to the ground, and she split the earth with a punch. "One more shot, kid," Tsunade warned. "I'm not losing," Naruto growled, forcing himself up. His fiery eyes stirred something painful in her, a memory of Nawaki and Dan. Naruto focused and finally conjured a glowing chakra chain, whipping it toward her as he lunged. The chain brushed her shoulder before fading, and she flicked his forehead, sending him flying again. "Strike 3. You're done," Tsunade said. "But I'll make you a deal. Master those chains before the week's up, and I'll return to Konoha. I'll even wager my grandfather's necklace." "Tsunade-sama, not that necklace." Shizune gasped. "Fine. I'll win it and make you save the old man." Naruto snapped, stomping off, but a sly grin tugged at his lips. He'd gotten her hooked. "Just so you know, Tsunade," Jiraiya said later over sake, "he baited you." "Please. The brat barely scratched me," she scoffed. "He let you win. That kid's faster than sound, and if you touched him, it's because he wanted you to," Jiraiya replied. Tsunade froze, groaned, and slumped over her drink. "Am I really that easy to play?" Jiraiya just laughed as the waitress refilled their bottle.